So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. What if Naruto was the prodigy of will and fire and had Hermione and Draco as his slave? Movie 1. Harry looked at the devastation that surrounded him. The Hogwarts grounds were surrounded with the bodies of Hogwarts defenders and Death Eaters alike. He turned to his left and he saw the ruined Quidditch pitch in the destroyed castle. Dazed, he started walking around hoping for more survivors. Flashback. Harry looked at Voldemort. The Dark Lord was surrounded by his top lieutenants Bellatrix Lestrange and Lucius Malfoy. Next to Harry were Draco Malfoy, Hermione Granger and Ginny Weasley. Not long ago Ron had been killed by Dolohov. Now these 7 were the only survivors from both sides. "Oh, what are you going to do now, little baby Potter?" The Dark Witch laughed maniacally. "Draco, how could you betray me like that?" asked Lucius. "You are my son." "I didn't betray you, father. You betrayed the Malfoy." Named Draco said. "A Malfoy bows to no one, especially to some half-blood born from a muggle and a squib." The blonde boy finished to the rage of his father and Lord Voldemort. "You dare speak lies, nephew!" Bellatrix rages. "They aren't lies," Harry stated as he blocked a dark curse heading toward Draco. "Potter, leave me my father," Draco said. "Bellatrix is first," then said Ginny. "Understood, but if one of you wins their duels, if you are able, you go and help the others." Bellatrix isn't to be underestimated, girls. "Draco, you know what buttons to push with you, father." After that, Draco, Hermione and Ginny nodded and separated to fight against their respectful opponents. The 3 duels were fierce and savage. Harry saw with his peripheral vision Ginny falling to a blood-boiling curse, and not long after that Draco joined Hermione in the fight against his aunt after he managed to kill his father. Lucius had lost his focus after one-to-many taunts by his son and had fell to a dark curse. His attention returned to the Dark Lord and he dodged a withering curse and sent one back. Not long after that he managed to use a mistake made by Voldemort, and with a well-placed piercing hex, he pierced his heart. Voldemort stood there for a moment before his body fell. Now only Bella Bitch was left. Flashback ends. Harry started running as he saw Draco and Hermione bodies next to Bellatrix's corpse. He fell next to his friends and he looked for a pulse, but unfortunately there was none. He saw with the corner of his eye a movement and turned toward his right and leveled his wand toward the intruder, but then his tension eased and a relieved smile appeared as he saw his familiar, a black Nindu. Not long after Hedwig's death and before their ministry storm out for the Horcrux locket, he had snuck out in Diagon Alley and he had found the small Nindu in a small cage in a dark and shady pet store on the border between Diagon Alley and Nocturne Alley. His magic had pulled him toward the back and had found the small black leopard in a cage too small even to lay comfortably. He had right away paid the asked price and had freed the small at the time cat. Even the owner did not know the nature of the cat that he had and had sold it as a mundane leopard, and Harry had managed to buy it for only 10 galleons. "Shade, I am so happy that you have survived." Harry smiled with tears in his eyes and he opened his arms and the young cat jumped in them and started purring. "Everyone is dead, Shade, we are the only ones alive." Shade froze and started growling and positioned himself between Harry and something in front. The boy started to ask what was happening, but he stopped as he saw a figure materializing in front of him. "Master," the figure said. "You are death, right?" Harry said. "Yes. All of this, was it necessary?" Harry showed the devastation around him. "No, but unfortunately it happened." "What now? What will happen to me?" A new figure appeared next to Death. It was a woman dressed in Asian clothes. "Hello," Harry said. "The woman, my name is Amaterasu. We the gods have a proposition for you and we hope that you'll accept it." "What kind of proposition?" asked the teen. "We'll send you in a world where ninja live and thrive. Of course you'll not be alone, your companion will join you." She gestured toward Shade. "In this world there is no magic, instead at this place there is chakra. There are also 9 beasts there, 9 animals, that are the strongest entities in this land. These 9 animals are tailed beasts from the one-tailed tanuki, to the strongest among them the 9-tailed fox, the kyubi. As my luck is, I'll meet one for sure." Harry murmured. "If I accept, what is the catch?" "You'll be dead to your 5-years-old body," said the goddess. "You'll appear at the time and place where you'll do the most good. However, you'll not be defenseless," she continued. "You'll have moderate knowledge of few ninja techniques also known as jutsu and the base knowledge of using a sword. I personally will give you 2 eggs from which 2 opposite creatures that you have faced before will hatch." "Thank you," Harry said. "In apology for what happened here, I'll also give you a boon," Master said. "Death, once and only once you'll be able to prevent the death of a person." "Thank you," said Harry. "But how?" "You'll know the time and place instinctively, Master, but remember, once and only once, I am bound by rules and I cannot break them." "I appreciate it, Death," the boy said. "Are you ready?" Amaterasu asked. "Ye," but he stopped as he saw movement, and to his relief Draco and Hermione awoke. We are alive, Draco," Hermione shouted and hugged her boyfriend. "Hermione, Draco," they heard a voice and turned toward it and saw the face of Harry, and the 3 of them hugged. "Harry, how is that?" Hermione asked the boy as she pointed toward the man and a woman. Not long after that, Draco and Hermione were all caught out with the explanation and looked at Harry with indecision. The boy smiled and said, "It's okay, Hermione, You and Draco have a life here, your parents and Draco mother are alive and they need you. Also you'll be able to live a normal life whenever you decide, be in England, be in France or whenever else. Just promise me that you'll be happy and do the things that you'll love to do. Oh, Hermione sobbed. Potter, are you sure? Draco asked. I'll not lie, that I would like for you to go with me. Harry started, however it will be selfish of me. He closed his eyes and turned his head and looked at the gods. Do it, send me, there before I regret it. A vortex opened behind him and Harry turned toward the light, thus missing the look that Draco and Hermione passed between each other. Shade was the first who went through and Harry moved toward it but was stopped by two hands on his shoulders. He turned and he saw his two friends nodding, their eyes blazing with unsaid resolve. Then they moved as one toward the light and the three teenagers were engulfed in the vortex, never to be seen again on Earth. Konoha. The fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze looked around the devastation that surrounded him. This was supposed to be the most important day of his life, the day when his son was going to be born and everything was supposed to be perfect. His wife Kushina was the Junkiriki of the nine-tailed fox, the Kuibi. Knowing that Kushina seal would be at its most vulnerable during the birth, everyone participating and helping in it knew what to do during the event. The birth had passed without a problem and he had managed to contain the beast, however a masked enemy had killed the wife of the third Hokage and taken his newborn son hostage and made him choose between his life and guarding the seal by means of an explosive tag on the baby blanket. He had managed to save his son in the nick of time, however this distraction was enough and the masked man had kidnapped Kushina and freed the Kyuubi. Being an Uzumaki, his wife had survived the forced extraction, however she had lost a lot of blood and was very weak. The young father knew what to do as he only had one choice, he had to seal the fox again. Unfortunately his wife was too weak to survive the sealing and the only possible candidate was his newborn son, Naruto. Hating himself for what he had to do, he teleported to the hideout and took his family before returning to the meadow where the fox was rampaging. Kushina, how are you feeling? Minato asked. Minato seal the fox in me, said his wife weakly. You are not strong enough, he said with regret and saw how her eyes grew with understanding. No, Naruto, she took her son close to her. It is the only way. Minato closed his eyes. How? Her voice trembled. The death dog seal, he said. No, you'll die, she screamed scared. It's the father job to protect his family, I wish that I would see him grow. He started doing the signs for the jutsu as the Kyuubi turned and saw them, before it was restrained with golden chains. Minato looked toward Kushina and saw to his surprise that the chains weren't coming from her, but from a small girl, no more than 5 years old, which was surrounded by two boys, one blonde the other black-haired and the biggest cat he had ever seen. Minato finished with the signs and the Shinigami appeared behind him. Why do you summon me, mortal? The apparition asked. I need you power, Lord Shinigami, to seal the nine tails, Minato stated. You know my payment, the spirit said. Yes, my soul, the young man said sorrowful. Stop, a new voice was heard and Minato saw the young black-haired boy come closer to him and to his horror the death god turned toward the boy. You aren't going to take him, said the boy. Minato and Kushina looked at the Shinigami and saw the specter nodding toward the boy before looking toward the great beast and plunging his see-through arm in the Kyuubi and pulling the struggling fox toward the altar where Naruto laid. There was a blinding light and when Minato and Kushina opened their eyes a seal had appeared on Naruto's abdomen. Minato knew what was coming next and prepared himself, but then. My promise to you and your family is complete, child, the death god spoke as he looked at the black-haired boy. Yes, and I thank you, the child said as he bowed to the apparition before the specter faded away. Just then, the third Hokage arrived at the clearing and looked at its occupants. Minato stood next to a tired Kushina who was holding a small baby which had a glowing seal on its belly. His sight then moved toward the other end of the clearing where 3 small kids and a huge leopard stood. All of the children's clothes were ripped and he observed how one of the boys gently put his arms on the girl and a soft glow encircled them and the 3 adults observed how some of her most serious cuts and bruises disappeared. The boy then moved toward his friend and the same thing was repeated. As the light disappeared the boy became visibly tired. The 3 adults enhanced their hearing with chakra and heard the young girl scolding the black-haired boy. Jade, you shouldn't have done that. It's okay, Mia, someday me and Mia will wake up prematurely gray, because of you, ranted the blonde-haired boy. Ryu, I feel so loved, as he said that the black-haired boy closed and he started to fell but was caught by Minato to the surprise of both children and the cat. Jade, both of his companions screamed and the cat started growling. Minato knew that for now he was safe from attack. The children were exhausted and the cat wouldn't attack him as he wasn't going to risk further injuries to the child in his arms. Then Kushina holding Naruto approached the kids. She was exhausted from the events of the night and was barely holding on. The little girl saw that into both cages. Surprised, she took out a vial full with a pearly liquid. She looked with uncertainty between the boy in Minato arms and the woman holding the baby. Decision made, she cautiously approached Kushina and held the vial toward her. The third and Minato tensed as she said, "Please drink this." "What is this?" asked Kushina. She could feel her forces leaving her. The extraction had taken a toll from her. Something that should start the healing process, said the girl. Kushina, Sarutobi started to say. That blonde guy is holding our friend, the blonde boy said as he gestured Minato. Do you really think we'll risk his safety? Minato saw the sense in this. Then what is it? He said suspiciously. A very potent healing aid, the girl said, as we have only one left for now and your wife needs it more, the girl said. What will it do? The third asked. It will give her strength, and if there is internal bleeding it will jumpstart the healing process, the boy said. Minato looked carefully as Kushina drank the substance, and to surprise to all the adults her color became more healthy and some of her strength returned. What was that? She asked amazed. The most powerful healing substance that we knew, said the boy. Then why didn't you give it to your friend? The third asked. We could have, but if we have done this, he would have been mad at us, when there was someone that needed it more, the girl said. Understood. Now Kushina. Minato looked at her. Now you and the kids are going to the hospital. Naruto needs to be checked by Tsunade as well as you, and the boy in my arms is also hurt. One more question, said the third. Who are you three? Konoha Hospital. Harry felt tired as his mind tried to wake up. After few attempts he finally managed to wake up. He looked around and sighed as he found himself in a hospital, groaned and turned as he heard a chuckled and purring next to him and saw Draco and Hermione sitting in a chair with Shade next to them and purring as he saw his owner awake. Hey, Harry, Myone said. Hi, guys, and it's Jade now, he said with a smile. How long? 3 days, Draco said. You tired yourself out. You used a lot of energy. Oh, what is the plan then, Mia? What have you learned? He looked at Mia as he scratched Shade behind the ears. The blonde guy and the older one are the cages of the village. The blonde is Minato Namikaze, started Draco. The yellow flash, Jade said, and the old one. Sarutobi, Mia said. The god of shinobi, Jade exhaled. Perfect. Then soon we'll be seriously grilled. Again the plan, Mia. We are orphans from Mist. Our parents were killed by the Mizukage men because they sheltered someone with a Kake Genkai because they didn't approve of his politics of bloodline purged. We were only 3 at the time. So we ran. Not long after that you found a leopard cub which bonded to you. We unlocked our chakra and in one attack I panicked and chains erupted from my back, and we know that we must leave Mist, otherwise we would have been eventually been captured and killed. So we escaped and we traveled the elemental nations and we managed to pick a thing or two. We came in Konoha a day or two before the fox attack, but we were weary of showing ourselves as we entered illegally in the village. The fox appeared toward our hiding place and we joined the battle, Mia said. Now how to explain what happened with the death god? Asked Draco. Our family was closely associated with the death god. One day the death god took someone whose time wasn't done. To make up for this, he promised that one time we could prevent the death of someone in payment for this mistake. Our ancestor knew the power of this gift and had decided not to use it and made some rules. These rules were: 1. Never to use it for selfish reasons. 2. To look for someone using the death god's sealing seal. 3. The user should have something to live for and be in the prime of his life. 4. If the one using the ritual was old, then to leave it as he is sure of his decision and to respect it, Jade said. I am impressed, Draco said. That covers everything, so we are ready for their interrogation and just in time as both of them and the woman are coming. Minato cautiously opened the door and looked inside and smiled as he saw that finally the boy had awoken. The 3 children were laughing and the giant cat was purring contentedly as it was scratched behind the ears by the boy on the bed. He entered the room and was followed by Sarutobi and Kushina. Hello, he said. How are you feeling? Good, Lord Hokage. I have replenished some of my energy. At least enough to don't keel over by anything stupid. At that the blonde-haired boy snorted. As if. I feel the love, Ryu said the boy. So who are you 3? asked the third. I am Mia, and these are my brothers Ryu and Jade said the girl. We are orphans from Mist. How did you become orphans? asked Sarutobi. Our parents didn't agree with the bloodline purges. They hid someone in our house. Unfortunately the Mizukage found out and came personally and killed our parents and the member of that clan. We would have died also, but our parents hid us in a cave and didn't permit us to come in the house while they were hiding the man. They wanted us to live if by any chance they were found, Mia said. How old? started Kushina. We were 3 at the time, said Ryu. We were living isolated from everybody, Jade said, and with good reason. Our parents suspected that one of us may develop chakra chains. They were right, Mia barely said. How come? Kushina asked gently. One day we were attacked by bandits. Ryu and Jade were down and Shade was nowhere to be seen. They approached me. The little girl closed her eyes and were speaking that they would use me. The heart of the adults constructed. They had a good idea what the bandits meant. I got scared. The next thing I knew they were immobilized by chakra chains coming out from me, and Shade was ripping them with his claws and crushing their heads with his teeth. How old are you? asked Minato. We are 5 now, said Jade. How did you learn your ninja techniques? You are too young, asked Sarutobi. As we were alone, stealth meant survivor, so we perfected it, we managed to sneak in a lot of hidden villages and observed their training, Ryu said. We remembered the hand signs and the name of the jutsus and we started practicing. For some we didn't have the chakra, but for the ones that we had we perfected them. Our chakra control is pretty good. What are your skills? Minato asked. All of us know some basic medical jutsu, as any one of us may be hurt, however I am more proficient than my brothers, the girl said. I am good with senbons and light ninja tools, said Ryu. And I am good with elemental manipulation, said Jade. And with Shade as he chose you as his partner, said Mia. That is another question. What kind of animal is your cat? Asked Kushina. Shade is a black leopard, said Jade, unwilling to disclose more about his familiar. He is not our only animal companion, said Mia. Truly, where are the others? One hasn't hatched yet, said Ryu, but when it hatches, he'll most likely bond with Jade. And the other is a phoenix, that is bonded to Mia. A what? Asked Kushina. A fire bird, which has healing tears. They are the strongest known substance in the world and can heal even the deadliest of poisons. So the liquid that I drank? Kushina asked. Phoenix tears, Mia confirmed. Where is that bird now? Asked Sarutobi. From time to time, the phoenix has what is known as a burning day. The day of the attack was one such day, so it will take time before he is fully grown again. Mia gently opened her cloak and took from its pocket a small chick with red and gold down feathers. Everyone meet Flare. Final question, the Shinigami. How I am alive? He just looked at you and nodded, asked Minato. This is due to our family relation with the death god, said Jade. To everyone's surprise, long ago the Shinigami took someone whose time wasn't up yet. To make for that, he promised our ancestor whose love was taken that our family will have the chance of preventing the death of someone whose time wasn't come yet in payment for the life taken before its time by the death god. The adults listened very careful and our ancestor knew the power of this gift and made some rules. He made them because he didn't want to be used for selfish reasons. Only when all of these rules were present, this boon could be used. And these rules were? Sarutobi asked. 1. Never to use it for selfish reasons. 2. To look for someone using the death god's sealing seal. 3. The user should have something to live for and be in the prime of his life. 4. If the one using the ritual was old, then to leave it as he is sure of his decision and to respect it. Jade continued. Explain these rules please, asked Kushina. Never use it for selfish reasons, which means that if a lover or child has died, the person wouldn't be able to use it, Mia said. While cruel, it makes sense, Ryu said. Our judgment is clouded by the pain and we wouldn't think straight. To look for someone using the death god seal, Mia continued. It means that this person is at his most desperate to use such a seal. Minato nodded. He has been at that point. The used should have something to live for, Jade said. Why did he use it? To save somebody, like his family, or for selfish reasons? Also how this will affect the ones left behind by his actions. For example, Lord Fourth. Minato looked at him. You have just become a father, you had so much in front of you, that you would have missed. Minato knew that your reasons weren't selfish and your time hasn't come yet. And the fourth? Asked Sarutobi. If I understand correctly, if the user of the seal is at the zenith of his life, for example I and I have been using it, Minato, you know that if you hadn't been started it, then I would have summoned the death god. We wouldn't have stopped it, Jade said. You were sure of your decision and it wouldn't be right to deny you that. Thank you, Sarutobi said with a smile. Now how did you came to Konoha? We snuck into the village 2 days before. We had planned to replenish our supplies and rest before leaving the village, said Mia, but then the attack happened. Ryu finished. Understood. Well, leave you now to rest more. Thank you for clearing this up. Minato home. Minato looked at Kushina and smiled as she saw her cradling Naruto. She put the baby to sleep and turned toward her husband. Minato, they are only 5 years old, she said, thinking of the trio currently in the hospital. I was thinking, we live in a big house which is close to the forest, so their cat will have a lot of space. Furthermore, they are related to me as the chakra chains or Uzumaki traits. Maybe we could propose to them to come and live with us. The hospital. A dark presence was creeping in the hospital. The snake Sanin had heard about the 3 children, especially the black-haired one, and was seething inside. If these children haven't interfered, then he would have been the 5th Hokage. Maybe, just maybe, he could get his revenge. After all, he was in the market for a new host. Yes, the black-haired boy would do. He slowly opened the door of the room and saw the sleeping children. Nevertheless, he performed the requirement signs for a sleeping jutsu. He waited a minute or two, entered, disconnected the boy from the machines and disappeared from the room. It was morning and Minato was going to the trio room to see how they were doing and to propose if they wanted to move with them. However, he noticed a big commotion the closer he came to their room. He accelerated his pace and started running as he heard the angry roar of the leopard. He opened the door fast and met with the panicked eyes of Ryu and Mia. However, Jade wasn't in the room. What? He started. We woke up and he wasn't there. We thought that he was gone to the bathroom, but he didn't come after time. Furthermore, Shade smelled that someone was here during the night. Do you know who? Minato asked. No, it could have been a doctor, coming to check on him, Ryu said. Don't worry, Kids, well find him, Minato said and closed his eyes. Orochimaru Lab. The snake Sanin looked at the small boy that he had kidnapped from the hospital and smiled. The boy was perfect for his experiments and maybe in the long run as a new body. He came closer to the bed the boy was in and took a syringe and drew some blood from the child. Then he reapplied the sleeping jutsu and sat in front of the microscope and put on a slide a little of the child blood and the blood of an Uchiha that he had stolen from the hospital some time ago. The Sanin had made multiple experiments trying to combine the blood with kidnapped children, as his goal was at the end to have a body that will be able to copy techniques like Kakashi had it, but without the chakra drawbacks. His crowning achievement for now was the child that had the first Hokage Mokuden ability, but if he could replicate the Sharingan in someone not of the Uchiha clan, then the possibilities were endless. His attention returned to the slide, and to his disbelief he saw the two different blood types merging. There was no sign of coagulation or rejection from the Uchiha blood. Barely containing his excitement, Orochimaru took the slide and put it into the DNA machine analyzer and starting it. 2 hours later the results were in his trembling hands and his sinister laugh echoed in the underground laboratory. On the page there was 2 words, merging success. Now he only needed to manipulate the ocular cells in such a way to guarantee a Sharingan awakening. 2 days later, Minato was at his wit's end. 4 days ago there was a break in the hospital and Jade, the small black-haired boy, was kidnapped. His brother and sister as well as the cat were right away moved to his house, and he had dispatched his best Anbu and even Kakashi to search for the child, however to no avail and success. His eyes looked tiredly at the opening door and he greeted the third as he entered the office. "Hey, Minato, any success?" Sarutobi asked. "No, and that worries me as I was hoping that he may still be in the village, however in all the chaos, I am scared that he was taken out. Still there is something that is bugging me," said the young man. "Oh, and what is it?" Sarutobi asked. "Why only Jade was taken?" Minato answered. "I don't follow. The kidnapping was at night and the person responsible looked to have a plan as he cast sleeping jutsu on the Anbu in front of the room according to the report of the next shift that replaced them. This make me believe that he cast it in the room with the children, as I am sure that otherwise the leopard would have woken up and jumped on the kidnapper and made such a noise that even the guards outside of the hospital would have come and investigate. So the kidnapper was undisturbed as he took the boy," Sarutobi said. "Yes, so why only him, why not the girl or all of them? We know that Mia has the Uzumaki chains which make her valuable, and the boys, while strong, don't appear to have a bloodline limit," Minato said. "Don't worry Minato, we will find him," Sarutobi said. Meanwhile in the lab, Jade opened his eyes and tried to move his hands and legs but was unable. Panicked he looked around and saw that he was in some kind of laboratory and was chained to a metal table. Then his peripheral vision captured movement and he turned his head toward it, and from the shadows appeared a slender man. The man had long black hair, pale skin, violet makeup around his yellow eyes, who in fact were slighted like a snake. "Welcome to the world once again," the voice of the man was like a hiss. "Who are you and where am I?" the boy said without fear. "I am Orochimaru, and you are a special guest of mine," the man said. "So what are your plans for me?" Jade answered. "You have the immense honor to aid me in an experiment." At that the man showed a syringe full with blood. "Prepare yourself as it will hurt." Then the man plunged the needle of the syringe in his arm and the Uchiha blood entered the kidnapped child blood stream. Orochimaru had made the hand signs to lift the jutsu and saw that the child stirred and awoke. Then to his immense surprise he calmly asked who he was, and there was no terror or recognition regarding his name. He even expected some scream when he told him his role in what was to follow, but he was disappointed. He took the hand of the child and entered the Uchiha blood into the boy vein, and soon he wasn't disappointed as the boy started screaming as his DNA was rewritten. Hopefully he would survive and the first artificial Uchiha would be born. Jade fell as if his blood was boiling. The Voldemort wannabe had injected him with foreign blood and he felt the magic in his blood absorbing it and merging the foreign blood with his own. The pain was 1,000 times worse than the Crucio and he wanted it to end, especially in his eyes as it felt like they were melting and regrowing. Soon the pain ended and the only thing left was the trembling of his body as it was rocketed by spasms. Orochimaru smiled as he looked at the whimpering child in front of him, as he looked at the eyes and saw for a moment the activated Sharingan before it disappeared and the green eyes of the child returned. That was good. It looked that there wasn't going to be a rejection, however it was too early to tell. Then something happened that he didn't account for. The skin of the child started emitting a light and then it erupted and then dissipated. Not having seen anything like this, the snake Sanin dismissed it as unimportant, believing that this was the end result of the merge. Oh, how wrong was he? With Minato. It was the following day after the talk with Sarutobi, and Minato had decided to do something different as the searches weren't getting results. So that is why today he was following the black leopard. The cat was following what appeared to be an invisible trace that led into the forest surrounding Konoha. Sometimes Shade was stopping and closing his eyes for a long time, before changing direction, but always being mindful of Minato. The Hokage looked at the sun and came to the conclusion that this chase has gone for around 6 hours as he had left the house at 9 today. Debating with himself whether or not to call it a day and try something else tomorrow, he noticed that the leopard had stopped and laid on the ground. Curious about its behavior, he put his hand on the ground and felt them, tremors. Then Shade jumped from his position on the ground and started running toward the bushes as Minato followed. Cat and man run for some time until they arrived at jagged rocks and the leopard entered them. Minato took out his kunai and followed him, and after some time he arrived at a door in the rock. He saw the cat attacking the door, and to his immense surprise the claws ripped through the door like it was made of butter, and he followed the animal inside as painful scream echoed in the cave. With Orochimaru, the snake Sannin looked at the boy as he finally had stopped trembling and started to approach him when to his horror his arm disappeared into the jaws of the biggest cat he had ever seen. Even the tigers in the forest of death looked to be slightly big cats, but this was a leopard. Leopards never grew to such sizes. His brain finally reacted to the pain receptors in his arm and he screamed. He tried to take out his arm from the mouth of the beast, but to his horror the teeth of the creature were glistening with something. His pain-added brain supplied him with the answer, poison. Then to his horror he saw the face of the man following the cat, Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage. Minato arrived at what appeared to be a laboratory and saw to his horror Shade biting on the hand of a ninja. Then the man lifted his head and he saw the snake Sannin. He started walking toward him when he heard a barely audible whimper and his eyes turned toward a metal table and saw to his horror the body of a child. He ran next to the boy and broke the chains that were holding the child on the table. Then his eyes widened as he saw the green eyes of the boy who he was searching for. He heard crunching noises and his eyes returned toward the leopard who had ripped the Sannin arm and had its claws on the ninja chest. The cat had also the other arm of the snake charmer in his mouth and had turned its head in such a way that its eyes were looking at Minato as waiting for a signal. The young Hokage looked around the room and saw the many tubes in which there were floating corpses. Then his eyes returned to the still whimpering Jade. Very careful, he took the boy in his arms and nodded to the leopard. There was another crunching sound and he saw Orochimaru thoracic cage cave in his 6 inches claws pierced his heart. Then for good measure, the leopard bit on the neck of the snake Sannin and the light finally left the kidnapper eyes. Minato had a choice to make now. He either could live now and return later with some ninjas, or he could quickly search the lab, take the most important things and return Jade to Kushina. Both choices had their pros and cons. I can wait a little while. The voice from his arms was heard. What? Minato said without understanding. I can wait a while. You don't know if this guy was working alone. With those words from the child, Minato stopped. What if while you are bringing me to first aid, his accomplice, if he has any, come and either destroys the place or take everything that may or may not incriminate him? The snake guy called me an experiment, so I don't believe that I was the first. So please, I can wait, but take everything that you can. Jade said, and finally exhaustion won and he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Minato smiled at the boy in his arms and gently he crossed his arms before 3 shadow clones appeared. Then without a word they started to copy the information and seal every document in the, however was blocking the entry as he knew the importance of everything in the room and that his little human may have been correct. Soon everything of importance was sealed in scrolls and 2 of the 3 clones disappeared. Minato suspected that Jade was right, that there may have been an accomplice, and ordered the last clone to transform and survey the entrance of the lab in the hope that somebody will come. He carefully moved as not to wake the small boy and he ran in front while Shade was covering his back. Night has already fast approaching and Kushina was getting worried. Minato had left with Shade in the early hours of the morning and he still hasn't come back. Furthermore, around 3 in the afternoon the ground had shook, which had made Mia and Ryu nervous. The boy and the girl have started to get frustrated with the inability of the Konoha ninjas to find their brother, and she could swear that they were thinking of going alone to find him, and relatively soon. Then Naruto started to cry and Mia went to see what the baby wanted, followed by the red-haired woman. The small girl entered the room and took the baby gently before passing it to his mother. Are you all right? Kushina asked. No, yes, I don't know, Mia answered. I am worried about Jade and the fact that someone had managed to take him from the room. I am sorry, said Kushina. Even when we were traveling alone and we were sleeping, no one got past Shade, and now someone managed to do it, Mia said. I am sure that Minato will find your brother, Kushina said. It's been over a week. Another voice was heard and both Kushina and Mia turned to see Ryu, and we are stuck here without a chance to go out and look out for him. Everything will be okay, Kushina said and closed her eyes, praying that Minato came home with good news. Suddenly Ryu froze and then looked at Mia before turning and running toward the door and exiting the house and stopping at the edge of the forest. Kushina had followed the boy while holding Naruto, with Mia following her. The young woman with her enhanced hearing heard a rustling of the leaves in the night and she gently gave Naruto to Mia and pulled out a kunai and positioned herself in front of the children. Then to her surprise Kakashi appeared next to her. Minato asked me to look after you when he isn't here, the silver-haired boy said as an explanation, and then he uncovered his Sharingan and the Chidori illuminated the night. Suddenly the roar of a big cat was heard and Kushina noticed that both of the 5-year-olds relaxed and smiled. Everything is okay, This is Shade, Ryu said for the benefit of the adults, and both teenager and woman relaxed and waited anxiously for Minato appearance and hopefully news about the missing boy. Minato was started to worry. He and Shade had managed to find Jade around 3 in the afternoon, and now it approached 8 at night and the boy in his hands hadn't stirred once since he had lost consciousness in the cursed lab. He made a sign to Shade and the leopard roared in order to warn Kushina that he was coming back. He finally exited the forest and smiled as he saw Kakashi and Kushina in front of the children. At least there was going to be good news tonight, as he looked at the boy in his arms and saw the green eyes looking at the house before they closed once again and Jade returned to sleep. Kushina saw Minato exiting the forest and noticed that in his hands there was a small bundle. She also noticed that her husband looked at it before his gaze returned to her as he approached her. "Minato," she started. "Everything is okay." Shade found him, Minato said as he gently moved, and Kushina, Kakashi, Mia and Ryu saw the sleeping child. "How? Where?" Kushina started but was stopped by Minato. "Not now, tomorrow, tonight is for the children," he said and entered the house followed by everyone. The young Hokage entered the house and then he gently entered the room that had been set aside for the young boy. He smiled as he saw the children entering the room and positioning themselves next to the wall. He then said, "Ryu, can you help me with Jade please?" "Sure, but for what?" asked the boy. "You see, I found your brother in a very cold place and I would like to bath him to warm him up. For now he is asleep, but I don't know if he will stay asleep, so I want for you to stay in the bathroom as I wash him. If he wakes up, you'll be able to calm him as he knows your voice and will know that he is safe. As I have no idea what has been done to him during his captivity, and I know that there was at least one man keeping him captive," Minato finished explaining. "Understood," said Ryu and looked at Mia with troubled eyes. "And what I can do?" asked Mia the Hokage. "Why don't you came with me and help me choose some warm clothes for Jade and help me make a chicken soup, as even if asleep me or Minato will be able to feed a cup to him. Kakashi, would you take care of Naruto? He is fed, so you shouldn't have any problem." She turned toward the teen. Understood. At that the boy exited the room. Shade the leopard looked at Minato. "Go and wash yourself in the river, then go in front of the fire to warm yourself, as you'll be sleeping in Jade bed tonight." At that Kushina looked at her husband. "If Jade wakes up, he may panic, Shade will be able to calm him." Understood. However, Shade at that the leopard looked at the wife of the fourth. "This is an exception. Now go." Minato smiled to Kushina as he saw her and Mia leaving the room, then his attention turned to Ryu, who was wondering how to proceed. He knew that what will follow may not be good for the young boy, however he knew that if Jade awoke it was better if the blonde-haired boy was with him to calm the freed boy. "Ryu, can you bring me something to put Jade clothes in?" he asked the boy. "Why? There may be traces of what was done to him by his kidnapper," the Hokage answered. "Why not ask the man who took him? Shade killed him," Minato said. "But why? If he was left alive, he would have escaped and it would have been worse. He was considered for the Hokage position, but was passed over by his teacher for me," Minato explained. "I'll explain everything tomorrow." Understood. However, please tell us the truth, even if we are young, don't try to shelter us. Otherwise how would we be able to help Jade without understanding what was done to him?" Ryu stated. Understood, Minato stated while looking at the boy. Then he took the sleeping boy and entered the bathroom. It was 2 hours later and Minato was sitting in the living room cradling Naruto and looking at Kushina and Kakashi. Fortunately Jade hasn't woken up during the bath, but he had woken up when a cup with hot soup was put in front of him and had managed to drink it before falling back to sleep while being cradled by Ryu and Mia from each side and Shade in his legs. "Minato," Kushina started. "Tomorrow, honey, tomorrow," Minato said. "Now I want to cradle you and Naruto," and not thinking of where and what he experienced when I found him. Understood. The Hokage office. Minato sat in his office. In front of him were Sarutobi, Jiraiya, Tsunade and Kushina. He knew that what he had to say would hurt them, but there wasn't any other way. "Yesterday, I managed to find Jade with the help of his leopard," Minato started. "This is good," Sarutobi said. "Yes, however the one that kidnapped him was Orochimaru," he said while looking at Sarutobi. "No," the third said disbelievingly. "I found your student and Jade in a laboratory dedicated to human experiments," Minato said with barely contained fury. "Are you sure?" Tsunade asked faintly. "The corpses in the tubes around the walls suggest that, as well as notebooks that I found there," the fourth stated. "What happened to my student?" asked Sarutobi. "He was killed by Shade," Minato said. "Who?" Jiraiya asked. "The kidnapped boy leopard." Tsunade. "Yes, Minato. Please can you come to our house and examine the boy there?" Minato said. "Yes, but wouldn't be better if he goes to the hospital?" Tsunade asked. "No, this is what started it all." Kushina jumped and looked at them. "Kushina is right," Minato nodded. "Furthermore, his brother and sister aren't permitting him to be moved and I agree with them." "But they are just 5 years old," Sarutobi said. "Still they trust us and ill will not break their trust." Minato house. Jade woke up gently and looked around. His last memory was of him telling Minato to look around the laboratory, but wait, this wasn't right. Someone had given him a cup of soup to drink and then nothing. He turned toward the open door and saw some light. He carefully got up and started to walk toward the corridor. However, he stopped as he heard breathing and saw Shade sleeping in the corner. He smiled and went to him. The ninja felt someone touching him and quickly opened his eyes and saw to his delight the bright eyes of his bonded. He jumped and started licking him. Kushina turned her head toward the bedrooms and smiled as he heard a child laugh coming from the corridor that led to the bedroom, and soon everyone saw the leopard coming up and on it sat the boy. "Jade, are you okay?" asked Mia. "Yes, I am with you now." Then he turned toward Kushina and Minato. "Thank you for saving me." "Of course, child," Kushina smiled. "Jade, can you tell us what happened?" Minato asked. "But what kind of leopard is this one?" "Why are you asking?" Ryu asked. "Well, he busted through a steel door like it was made of butter," asked Minato. Jade looked at Mia and Ryu and were debating with themselves whether or not to tell the two ninjas the truth. Minato and Kushina saw the children looking at each other and then nodding before Jade turning toward them. "We are going to tell you the truth," said Jade. "What?" asked Minato and Kushina disbelievingly. "It isn't dangerous for you, village," said Ryu. "However, this is our history and who we are. Please don't interrupt us as it is hard enough to tell at once," asked Mia. "Understood," Kushina said, and Minato nodded. "First off, we come from a different world," Ryu said. "Jade's name was Harry, Mia was Hermione, and my name was actually Draco, which is the name for the dragon constellation." "Ryu means dragon," Kushina said. "Yes," Mia said. "You see, in our world there is no chakra, but magic. We even hone our skills in magic schools from 11 to 17 years old. 40 years ago a powerful dark wizard emerged. He was hell-bent on power, immortality and domination. You see, our society or wizards is divided in 3 branches. The pure bloods, which Ryu is a member, the first generation or muggleborns, which Mia is a member, and the half-blood, which I am a member," Jade said. "Pure bloods means that you have wizards for at least 4 generations," Ryu explained, meaning grandparents from both sides and parents. Muggleborn or first generations don't have magical blood in neither their grandparents or parents. So they are the first with magic, Minato concluded. "Yes," Ryu said. "Then you have the half-bloods whose parents are either a muggleborn and a pureblood, or muggle and either a half-blood, pureblood or a muggle, or finally B. A muggle is a person without magic," explained Jade. "So to return to the explanation," Jade said, "so this wizard chose the name Lord Voldemort and was terrorizing the country magical and muggles. This wizard was a descendant from an old line who was able to speak the snake language. The wizard from which he was descendant with 3 others, another man and 2 women, formed our school," Mia said. "Ravenclaw, whose symbol was an eagle and valued intelligence, Hufflepuff, who valued loyalty and symbol was a badger. Then you have the men Gryffindor, who valued bravery and symbol was a lion. Mia and I were from his house, and finally Slytherin, who valued cunning and his symbol was a snake." "I was a member of the house," said Ryu. "Wait, if your school accepts children between the age of 11 and 17, then how were you part of these houses?" Minato asked. "We are in reality 18 years old," Jade said. "The how? Everything will be explained. You see, a year before I was born a prophecy was made that a boy born at the end of July will have the power to defeat him. Voldemort heard a part of the prophecy, and when I was 15 months old he came to my house and killed my parents. The magic attack that he used was one that was basically a one-hit kill. He sent it toward me, but it didn't work. His body was destroyed and I was left with the scar on my forehead. Fast forward 14 years, at the end of our 4-year he came back." Ryu said, "My father's loyalty went to Voldemort as most of my family. I was expected to join Voldemort, but instead I chose Jade's side. And I am grateful for that." Jade smiled. "Our old headmaster left me clues to how to defeat him. We 3 and 2 others who unfortunately died managed to find them and destroy them. Few weeks ago it was the final battle, us 3 and another girl who was killed against Voldemort, my aunt and my father," said Ryu. "We divided ourselves, me against my father who I managed to kill, Mia and Ginny against my aunt. Unfortunately Ginny died," Mia said. "After her death Ryu started to fight with me and we managed to defeat her. However, we lost consciousness and Jade through we were death. While they were fighting Bellatrix I had managed to kill Voldemort. Then things started to get interesting." "What happened, Jade?" Mia asked, interested. 2 figures, a man and a woman, appeared. The man was Death. He told me that due to the unnecessary dead in the battle against Voldemort, he'll grant me one boon to save the life of someone and I would know when to use it. At that he looked at Minato. "The woman Amaterasu told me that she would age us to 5 years old and that they will send us to somewhere where we should find happiness. Then they opened a portal and we passed through and we found ourselves in Konoha." Jade finished. "We told the first story as it was more believable," Mia said. "One final question," Minato said. "The leopard. Shade is a nindu, a magical creature. It's a leopard, and it is one of the most dangerous magical creatures," said Ryu. "Magical creatures are classified in categories. Categories 1 are basically boring and Category 5 are known wizard killers," Mia explained for the benefit of Minato and Kushina. "In the Category 5, at least for me, there are 3 creatures that are top 3. Jade said the dragon, basilisk and nindu. The dragon is dangerous, but is the easiest to control from the 3. Yes, there is fire, but you need teams of 3 to 7 wizards depending on the species to control one dragon. Then there is the Nindu. It has very sharp claws, very strong jaws, and if he chooses its breath can be poisonous. It needs a team of at least 100 wizards to kill a Nindu. Then there is the rarest and most dangerous beast of them. One so rare and very hard to control, Jade said. Oh, don't tell me, thank your luck you have encountered all 3 of them, Mia said and groaned. Huh. What do you mean? Ryu asked. Second year, heir of Slytherin debacle, Mia finished. Oh, yeah, wait, you have met Slytherin monster. Ryu looked at Jade with stars in his eyes. Met it, battle it, having being bit by it and survived to tell the tale, Jade said smugly. Fill us up please, Kushina said while laughing. The most dangerous creature known to wizards is the basilisk. It is a giant snake, which come to be by having a toad sitting on a chicken egg until it hatches. The male has a red feather over one of the eyes. They are very long-lived, their poison can kill you very fast, but the most lethal weapon of the basilisk are the eyes. One look at them and the unfortunate soul is dead. Only a parselmouth or speaker of the snake language can control this snake. Only known cure from the poison are phoenix tears. Mia finished the explanation. Then how come no one died during our second year, Ryu asked. Because no one looked at it directly. The cat looked at the snake reflection due to the water. Colin Creevy looked at it with its camera. Justin looked at the basilisk through the ghost. The ghost is already death and cannot die a second time, and Mia saw the reflection through a mirror. Coincidentally, if you have both basilisk venom and phoenix tears in your blood, you are immune for life from any and all types of poison. Jade said, so I found Shade in a shady pet store in a very small cage. The owner of the place didn't know what he had and sold me the leopard cub for 10 galleons. Ouch, that would have hurt him, Ryu said. His loss my gain, as he troughed that he was a mundane animal. Well, this is our story, Jade said, and the 3 children looked at the adults. Thank you for trusting us, Kushina said. Yes, and welcome to the family, Minato smiled as well. The 3 teenagers in the bodies of 5-year-old looked at each other and smiled. They were home. Then suddenly there was a cracking sound and the last egg shattered and a small snake tongue appeared from it. The next morning Jade was sitting in front of Tsunade with Naruto in his hands. The slug Sanin had come to see the child and was smiling as he saw the small baby sleeping contently. Hello, Jade, my name is Tsunade. I am a medic and Minato wanted me to look at you after Orochimaru. Who? The small boy answered. The man who kidnapped you. Continue. The woman. I want to take some blood from you. No, Jade shouted and Naruto started to cry as he awoke. You are not taking my blood. Everything will be fine, I promise. Tsunade tried to explain but froze as she saw the biggest cat she has even seen coming toward her with its ears down and eyes slighted. You are not taking my blood. The small boy looked at her and stood up before exiting the room as he gave the baby to Kushina, which had come to see why Naruto was crying. Tsunade, what is going on? Kushina asked the slug Sanin. I only told him that I want to take his blood to see what has been done to him and he reacted like this. Kushina, he has been through kidnapping. I don't think that the boy is safe to be around. Naruto. Tsunade hasn't noticed Minato entering the room. We have spoken with Jade and he is physically and mentally fine. If he doesn't want to be probed then he will not be. Minato, you asked me to look at him, that is why I am trying to do. Tsunade said to him. When and if he is ready, Jade will do it. Minato said and Tsunade left the house speechless. Minato looked toward the open back door and saw the enormous body of Shade and next to him was Jade. He sighed and very carefully came into the backyard and sat next to the small boy. A small hiss was heard and the Hokage saw the small snake head coming from the collar of the boy then setting itself around the neck. You have a way with snakes, he said, and Jade smiled. I like them. Some of them are so opinionated. They can be sarcastic, funny, full of themselves, proud, cunning and patient. Thanks to Voldemort they got a bad reputation, but they are interesting, Jade said. You know, one of the things that I took from the lab is the snake contract. If you wish, you and Ryu could sign it and you can use them as companions and protectors. Jade smiled. It will be nice. We'll be able to protect Naruto as he grows up. As he is our little brother, he is bound to get in a lot of trouble. Minato. Yes, Jade. From what I can get, that man was fond of experiments. I overheard him that he was obsessed with Kakashi and especially the red eye under his Hidaitae. But there was a drawback. The chakra drain, Minato said. He took blood from me and used some stolen blood from a clan and told me that he had managed to combine them. He then injected the combined blood into me. The pain, Jade trembled. The pain Minato carefully cradled him was immense. It felt like my body was breaking and rearranging itself and my eyes, they felt like they were melting and then regrowing. Minato closed his eyes in horror, and was scared of the possible results and what could possibly mean for the child. He gently looked at Jade and said. Jade, I'll ask you to do something. Can you do this for me? Yes, the boy answered. I want you to concentrate and try to find your chakra. Can you do that? Jade nodded. Now concentrate the chakra in your eyes and when you are ready look at me. Minato held his breath and watched Jade's eyes changing from green to red with black circles inside, the Sharingan. What has been done to me? The boy asked. Well, inadvertently Orochimaru gave you the best tool for you to study ninjutsu. You see, the Sharingan is known as the copy eye. The Uchiha, the clan with this particular blood limit, are one of the strongest clans of Konoha, and the most proud. Why? A voice was heard behind them and both man and boy turned and saw Mia and Ryu. The Sharingan makes learning jutsu easy, as when you have 3 komas in the circles the user can copy the techniques that he has seen. That's cheating, Mia said. A person had worked so hard and then somebody comes and uses that eye to steal all the hard work. Mia, Ryu screamed and the girl stopped and looked at Jade, who had closed his eyes in shame. Jade, Kakashi voice was heard. While it is true that you can copy the technique, but it is not enough. You'll need to learn how much chakra you can use for a given technique and other things. The eye is a shortcut, yes, however you need to master it. Will you help me? Jade asked. Sure, however there will be rules especial for your safety. The Uchiha are a proud clan which guard jealously their secrets. I have a lot of trouble for an implanted Sharingan, and thanks to Orochimaru you actually have it. So until you graduate from the academy and you became genin, don't use it. 1 week later, Itachi Uchiha lifted his head when the door of his classroom in the academy opened and 2 boys and a girl entered, followed by Kushina Uzumaki and the 4th Hokage himself. Children, Soka-sensei said, I want you to meet our 3 new students. Ryu the blonde boy nodded, Jade the black-haired boy followed his brother example, and Mia the girl smiled. The 3 of them live with the Hokage. Kids, there is space next to Itachi. Itachi, can you lift your hand please? The Uchiha air-sighted and followed the directions of the teacher, getting himself ready for a new fangirl. Then suddenly there was a commotion and the biggest leopard the Uchiha heir has even seen jumped through the open window and came to sit in the feet of Jade. Lunch finally came and Itachi prepared himself for another lunch filled with avoiding fangirls. However, to his immense surprise, no fangirl approached him as the 3 new students and their leopard was close by. Hi, the girl said, I am Mia and these are my brothers. The leopard is Shade and he belongs to Jade. I hope that eventually we can be friends. And don't worry, I am not a fangirl, in fact I despise them. Itachi smiled at that. 3 years later. It has been 3 years since Jade, Mia and Ryu had arrived in Konoha and they have grown in leaps and bounds. They have become closer with the Uchiha heir and Itachi was almost always found with them to the displeasure of his fan. Closeness had led also to Naruto and Sasuke becoming closer, and the 2 3-year-old could often be found under the watchful eyes of their older siblings. However, there were dark clouds on the horizon. The Cloud Delegation. Minato was getting frustrated with the upcoming Cloud Delegation. Finally, after many years, the Raikage had gave his consent for a peace treaty between their 2 villages. Every member of the village knew the importance of this event and the clan heads were hoping that everything will be fine. The day arrived and the Cloud Delegation was presented to the Hokage family. The ambassador froze as he saw the size of Shade and looked uncertainly at his colleagues. The real mission was to kidnap the Hokage's son, but apparently this wasn't going to be possible. At least they had a second target. They would use the signing tomorrow night as a distraction while their best ninja was going to kidnap a Hyuga girl. Plan made, they went to their hotel, not noticing the eyes of Jade following them and the small node from Ryu, Mia and Itachi. It was the night on the treaty signing and Minato's frustration was growing. The ambassador wasn't even here yet and the entourage was getting nervous, as if they were waiting for something. He closed his eyes and focused on his children. He quickly located each of the seals his children wore. To his immense relief, Naruto was at home with Mia and Ryu, however strangely Jade's seal looked to be moving out of the village. Then he felt the pull of Jade blade and to the horror of the Cloud Delegation he disappeared in a yellow flash toward Jade's signal. With the Cloud Ambassador, the Cloud Ninja smiled as he exited the Hyuga compound. His entourage was distracting the Hokage and all the clan heads were at a signing that never would happen. He had managed to enter the compound and kidnap an unmarked girl. What more, the girl was the heiress. Pleased with his apparent success, he left the compound, but then he froze. In front of him stood the leopard from the day before and was flanked by 2 black-haired children. So Konoha, send me some children, the Cloud Ninja said. Oh, how the mighty was fallen. You know, it would have been better for you if the Jonin had intercepted you, said one of the boys. So what, 2 8 years old will stop me? The ninja was laughing now. You know, this attempt can be classified as act of war. Only if I am captured. At that, the ninja body flickered and disappeared. Do Shade has his scent? Itachi turned toward Jade. Yes, no worries, the Cloud Ninja will not escape us. The Cloud Ninja had exited the village and was running toward the border when a huge mass cut his way and he dropped the sack in which his prize stood. He turned toward the perpetuated and saw the huge leopard. He could swear that the animal was a smaller version of the 2 tails. Then as he was distracted, he was cut by a kunai and tied with a ninja wire. We told you that it would have been better for you if a Jonin had saw you. The voice of one of the boys from before was heard and he looked at them and to his horror he saw 2 pair of Sharingan looking at him. Uchiha, he said, awed as he saw the famous bloodline limit. Yes, one of the boys said. What is more, one of us is the personal student of the 4th Hokage. At that, the ninja froze as he saw the 3-pronged kunai in one hand and in the other blue spiraling ball. The next thing he saw the kunai being thrown and passing next to his right ear. Ha! You aim is off, child, the ninja said while smiling. Are you sure? The boy smiled, and then there was a yellow flash. The Cloud Ninja knew that he was fucked, as next to the boys and the cat stood the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Minato looked around in the scene and said, Jade report. Hi Hokage-sama, yesterday I noticed the interest that the Cloud generation had in Naruto, and it made me really suspicious. As that guy saw Shade he froze, but then his eyes started to roam as if he was choosing his next target. So we separated. My brother and sister stayed at our place as we often do, and me and the Uchiha, who had noticed also the strange behavior, met. We suspected that either the Uchiha or Hyuga clans would be targeted due to the Sharingan and Byakugan. The Uchiha compound was well guarded, which left. The Hyuga, Minato said with icy eyes. Yes, we surveyed the area and saw this guy appearing and carrying a burlap sack in which Hinata was. Jade made a sign and the 3-year-old girl appeared. The enemy disappeared when he saw us, but by this time Shade had memorized his sentence. We intercepted him here, tied him with ninja wire and called you. I see. Minato turned toward the prisoner. I am sure that he will enjoy Ibiki hospitality. Wait a minute, I am the Cloud Ambassador, you cannot do anything to me, the Cloud Ninja said with false bravura. Wrong, the other boy said you were the Cloud Ambassador, now you are an enemy ninja. Yes, and for you village sake, I hope that the Raikage isn't on this plan, otherwise it means war, Minato said. He approached the bound ambassador and with a nod to Jade he disappeared. A minute later he returned and took Hinata, as Itachi, Jade and Shade teleported away. Chapter 8. Danzo Shimura sat in his office in his root compound reading the progress report that his spies had given him on the black-haired son of the Hokage as well as his brother and sister. The children have come in the village 8 years ago and now all 3 of them were 13 years old. Furthermore, the black-haired boy was accompanied by a huge leopard and a dangerous snake, who was at least 8 meters, and the worst thing was that it hasn't stopped growing. There were rumors, while unconfirmed, that the black-haired boy also possessed the Sharingan. He then looked at the 4th file that showed Itachi Uchiha. The Uchiha heir was a prodigy and had managed to unlock the Sharingan 5 years ago, a little before or after the attempted kidnapping of the Hyuga heiress by the Cloud delegation. His thoughts returned to Jade and how the boy had protected numerous times the 9-tailed brat from his clutches. Doesn't no one in this village see what he was trying to do? He wanted to take the boy and train him in such a way that every nation would fear Konoha. He needed to try something to shake the rule of Minato Namikaze. He looked at Itachi file one last time and smiled. It would be a long work, but if it worked, the village would be shaken to his core and maybe he would be sitting in the Hokage seat. He just needed to plan everything carefully. Few months later, Jade lifted his head as he saw his team surrounding him. This was unusual as it was their day off. The 4 of them had managed to graduate at only 10 years of age and right from the get-go they were put in Anbu as a fully functioning unit. During the Cloud incident, Ibiki has been impressed by the young shinobi and had managed to convince Minato to make them an Anbu unit under Kakashi. Mia had become the best medic ninja in the corp due to Tsunade teachings. Ryu had a way with poison thanks to Anko. Itachi could interrogate a target easily and without even the target noticing thanks to his Sharingan, and Jade could infiltrate even the most secure location. What was even rarer, the 4 ninjas had made contracts with creatures. Jade and Ryu with the serpents, which wasn't a small fee as Jade had Mondro respect and the obedience of the great snake. Itachi with the crows as they helped with his Sharingan, and Mia held the slug contract from Tsunade which would help her in healing. What is going on, Mia? Me and Ryu managed to intercept a ninja dressed as Anbu, however he didn't have an animal mask but a blank one. He attacked us, and as you know, no Konoha Anbu attacks their own. Yes, we took this from him. Mia gave him 2 letters to read. Is the information in them true? Jade lifted his head and looked at Mia. I suspected, Mia said. Understood. Okay Ryu, go and tell Minato to meet us at home. Itachi, go and bring your father to our home also. Jade, what is in the 2 letters? Asked Ryu. The way to finally bring Danzo down, the boy smiled. The Namikaze residence. Minato returned home post haste with Ryu and saw to his surprise the head of the Uchiha clan there too. He met Jade's eyes and asked, Jade, what is happening? Today, Ryu and Mia intercepted a suspicious Anbu, his son said. The Anbu had a plain mask, instead of the usual ones, Mia said to the alarm of Minato. We singled Itachi and Jade and discreetly followed the ninja, Ryu said. He noticed us and attacked, Itachi said. But Konoha Anbu, started Fugaku. Don't attack each other, Minato finished. Yes, we killed him and found this 2 letters in his pockets, Jade said, and gave Minato and Fugaku the letters. We believe that the ninja was under orders to plant them, one in the Hokage tower and the other one in the Uchiha compound. Both men looked at each other and then at the letters. One was an order from the Hokage to kill all the Uchiha clan, and the other was a letter that outlined a possible rebellion plan by the Uchiha clan in the bid to take the Hokage seat. Minato, Fugaku, that is not true, the 2 men said simultaneously. Don't worry, Jade said. Present those notes to the consul and they'll know that they were fake, Jade said. While the boys were bringing you, Me and Mia snuck into Danzo place and took a document with a copy of his writing. The boy gave the simple to his father and smiled. With that, Danzo is finished. 2 days later, the council chambers. Shikaku Nara looked at the council chambers and wondered why Minato had called it. The 4th Hokage wasn't a person to call the council together often, and when he called it usually was something big. He noticed a team of 4 Anbu entering the room and one of them doing a strange sign as the door closed. The Nara felt a subtle wave of chakra passing through the room and Minato nodded at the Anbu team. His attention turned toward Minato as the 4th Hokage spoke. We are all here today, as a team of Anbu had brought me information about treason to the highest degree. Danzo smiled. His plan had worked. Who is responsible for this treason? The old man asked. I am glad you asked. Danzo. Minato said the treason was committed by you. At that the whole room stilled for a moment, then the shouting started. Minato, what do you mean? Sarutobi asked. These documents were seized from an Anbu that attacked the team that intercepted it. Now before you all start to criticize that Anbu doesn't attack each other, however this Anbu was different. He didn't have an animal mask but a blank one. Konoha Anbu all have animal masks? Shikaku asked. Yes, so that team intercepted that faceless Anbu, killed him and took these documents. What are these documents? Hiyashi Hyuga asked. A well-forged documents about an order coming from the Hokage office about the total eradication of the Uchiha clan due to rebellion. He showed the first document, and this one is an outline for a planned rebellion by the Uchiha clan. Then why accuse me and not Fugaku? Danzo asked, and most of the council was wondering the same thing. Because this while stamped with a Hokage seal is not my Hokage seal, Minato said to Danzo horror. And this is not my writing, Fugaku said, and passed around a sample of his writing to all the clan heads, to compare the writings on the second document with it. However, a team of Anbu obtained a sample of your writing, Danzo, Minato said, and showed it to the clan heads, and both writing matched. Danzo knew that the game was up and tried to teleport but was unable, to his immense surprise. He saw Minato and Fugaku smirking and his blood ran cold. Problem? Danzo. Fugaku said. Not at all, just a little setback, Danzo said. Soon everyone will be under my control. Everyone watched with bated breath Danzo touching his face and covered hand, and to their horror they saw the 11 implanted Sharingans in his body. Grave robber, Fugaku said. Soon everyone will be under my control, and you, Minato, will give me your son and I will mold him into the perfect weapon, Danzo said, but to his immense surprise he could not move as Shikaku had used his clan technique and immobilized him. What? Danzo Shimura. Minato said, you are sentenced to death for high treason. How? Why my Sharingan isn't working on you? Danzo asked. The second you unveiled your stolen eyes, you were captured in a genjutsu, Minato said, and to Danzo horror, he saw 2 Anbu taking off their mask and he saw 2 pair of Sharingan looking at him. Good work, Itachi. Hi, Hokage-sama, Itachi stated. So when my sentence will be executed? Danzo said. Here and now, Minato said, and to Danzo horror he saw some movement around the legs of the Hokage's son, and his pet snake slithered around him before moving toward the old war hawk and climbing on him, its face on the level on his, and the last thing he saw in his life was the eyelid lifting up and the eyes changing color from orange to yellow. Shikaku Nara lifted off his jutsu and everybody saw how Danzo's body fell on the floor as the huge snake moved toward his owner. Hiyashi then asked the question that was on everybody's mind. How is he dead? Hokage-sama, may I explain? The Hokage black-haired son asked, and Minato nodded. My snake is very rare, and as far as I know he is the only one in existence in the elemental nations. There is differences between the male and the female, as the male has a single red feather over his eyes. At that every member of the council noticed the lack of a feather. So a female, Shikaku said. Yes, Jade nodded. The name of her kind is a basilisk, and she is even rarer as she is a natural-born one. The basilisk is very dangerous and deadly as its weapons are its poisonous teeth, and its eyes can be very dangerous. How? Asked Shikaku. Her poison can kill a man in under 2 minutes, but her most dangerous weapon is her ability to kill on sight. What? Everybody shouted. You see that her eyes are slightly orange, however they look like this as the natural-born basilisk have a clear eyelid that stop her deadly glare. If her eyes turn yellow, then are deadly, Shikaku said. So that is why she climbed on Danzo. Huh? Su Minazuka asked. Many people stood behind Danzo. If the snake haven done that, I and few others will be dead as we would be dead. You said that it was poisonous, Tsunade said. Yes, Minato said. Do we have an antidote to it? She asked. Yes, what is it? I will not say, Jade said. The Hokage knows, so this is enough, he finished to the displeasure of Tsunade. 4 years later, Naruto and Sasuke were exited. Today was graduation day and they have overheard that Itachi and Jade were considering to take a genin team. The 2 boys had tried multiple times to verify the information and have almost managed it few times, however they were foiled at the last moment by some event or other. Finally, Iruka-sensei entered the room. Following him was their other teacher, Misuki-sensei. Naruto stiffened right away as he knew that this man didn't like him, and for him to be here and give the exam wasn't a good thing. The 2 boys watched carefully as the names of their classmates were called out. Finally it was Naruto's turn and he saw the encouraging smile on Sasuke's face. You'll do great, Don't worry, the black-haired boy said to his best friend, and Naruto nodded before leaving the waiting area and entering the classroom. Okay, Naruto, I want to see you use the 3 Academy Jutsu. You need to pass all 3 to get a headband, Iruka said. Naruto nodded and concentrated first on the body flicker, and he exchanged places with a chair. Then he concentrated hard, and in front of the 2 teachers stood a cage bunshin, and then both the original and the copy transformed into 2 black-haired men which were shirtless. Iruka looked dumbstruck at the perfect replica of Itachi and Jade as another cage bunshin appeared and took out a camera, and Naruto and the other copy made a pose. The flash of the camera returned Iruka to his senses, and he looked at his favorite student. Naruto, what was that? Iruka asked. That is blackmail material, Naruto said. Furthermore, I have used the 3 jutsu that you wanted. I have done a clone, a transformation and replacement. And the photo? Iruka was scared to ask. As I said, blackmail. I'll give a copy to Sasuke and I'll keep the original. Furthermore, do you know how many fangirls and fanboys our brothers and sister have? Naruto said. I am guessing a lot, Iruka said unsurely. Yes, me and Sasuke are using this popularity to make a calendar and gain few extra spending money. So what are the results on my exam? The blonde boy asked. You, Iruka said. Fail, Mizuki said. Mizuki, Iruka started. You wanted the 3 basic jutsu, Naruto said, the clone, the transformation and the replacement. You didn't specify with what to replace myself. You didn't specify which clone to do, and as I have more chakra than most of my classmates, my father had decided to teach me the shadow clone technique, and I have used it for a number of years now. Furthermore, you didn't specify in who to transform, so I had lots of choices. I have completed exactly what you asked of me, to the best of my ability, and have met all requirements for graduation, so you cannot fail me on only the base that you don't like me, Mizuki-sensei, Naruto said. Mizuki knew that the brat was right and had no reason not to give him his hitai and reluctantly gave him the headband. The white-haired man had to find another way to steal the forbidden scroll from the Hokage office. His plans to use Naruto had failed, so he himself had to try and steal it. He watched as Naruto exited the room and Sasuke entered. He knew that he didn't have any reason to deny him his headband either. Yes, he had to try to steal the forgiven scroll and try to sell it to some of Konoha enemies. Naruto and Sasuke entered the Hokage house and smiled at Kushina. Both Sasuke and Itachi lived here now, as there was a huge falling out between Fugaku and his sons. So how did it go? Kushina asked. We passed, Naruto said. However, there is something that Dad need to know. Oh, let me call him, Kushina said, and sent a little chakra to the seal that she had on her body. Every member of the Namikaze family had Minato's sign tattooed somewhere. Not long after, Minato appeared. Hello, Kushina, what is it? He asked. Dad, we passed, Naruto said. However, there is something that you need to know. Minato looked at his son, and Naruto explained how Mizuki had tried to fail him and that he was looking disappointed when Naruto had received his headband. Dad, Mizuki is planning something, Naruto finished. Not for long, a voice was heard behind the boy, and Naruto turned and saw Itachi with Jade and Rui. The mission, Hokage-sama. Minato looked at his boys as he and Kushina considered both Itachi and Sasuke theirs and said. Tail Mizuki, and let him do his move. If he does it, take him. If he talks about his plans, take him. Either way, Mizuki won't be a free ninja come morning. Hi, Hokage-sama. The 3 boys left the room not before hearing Naruto. Dad, who was going to be my and Sasuke-sensei? Mizuki smiled. This was too easy. The Hokage has gone home early today and was celebrating the Fox Brat graduation, and surprisingly there were no Anbu guarding the office tonight. Now, if Mizuki had any ounce of intelligence, he would have known that the situation was most likely a trap, but currently the Chunin was so fixated on his final goal that he never stopped to think about the situation. The moment he entered the Hokage office, it was all over for him as his eyes met the Sharingan and everything went black. When he came through, he found himself at Ibiki Tender Mercy and he gulped. Soon the interrogation department echoed with the cries of the disgraced Chunin, but no one paid them any attention. Few days later, Sasuke and Naruto were exited. Today they were going to be assigned in their teams for the rest of their genin days. Soon Iruka-sensei entered the room and looked at their graduating class and smiled. He took roll call for the last time, then he started distributing the teams. Finally only the clan heirs and Sakura were left to be placed. He looked at them and started thinking. He knew that the Hokage wanted to have a new generation of Yamanaka, Nara and Akamichi team. However, was it in the best interest of the teams? Ino was bossy, Shikamaru was genius, but no N lazy, more like bored, and Chogi was, well, Chogi. He knew that the 3 heirs expected to be put together. Then he looked at the other team request. The one of Kurenai. She wanted Hinata as her student, to make the girl more comfortable and sure of herself. Kiba and Shino worked well together. Kurenai wanted to make a reconnaissance team. While in theory this was a good idea, Iruka didn't want over-specialized teams. Then there was Sasuke and Naruto. Both boys worked well together, so they would stay together, but the third member of their team left was Sakura Haruno, a huge Uchiha fangirl. She adored Sasuke but hated Naruto. No, this team was doomed to failure if Sakura was put together with the boys. Decision made and prepared to risk the ire of at least one Junin, he opened his mouth and said. Team 7 is Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Namikaze and Hinata Hyuga. When this was announced, Hinata fainted as she was in a team with her crush and both boys bumped fists, before turning toward Hinata and helping her to come around. Team is Sakura Haruno, Shino Aburame and Kiba Inuzuka. A shriek was heard. I am not with Sasuke. Kuruka was sure that Sakura voice carried over the next floor. Then he looked at Kiba and saw Akamaru, Kiba Nin dog hiding in the jacket of his master, and the boy had his hands over his ears. And was that a twitch from Shino? Haruka wasn't sure. He looked over the list and said Team 8 your sensei is Kurenai. Then he continued Team 9 is still in circulation, Team 10 is Ino, Shikamaru and Choji, and your sensei is Asuma Sarutobi. Now you are free to go to lunch, however be back in 2 hours to meet your sensei. Then Haruka left to see the Jonin of the new teams to explain the change he had made on the fly. With the new Jonin, Haruka entered the Hokage office where the new sensei plus the Hokage were. He looked at them and prepared for Mount Kurenai explosion. Hokage-sama, the graduates are in their new teams, Haruka said. That is good, Minato said. However, Haruka started. Yes, Minato said. I have made a change concerning the clan heirs teams. He said I will give you my reasons for it as I go. Oh, and what is it? Asuma said. The change concerned two of the Kanauchi. Haruka said. Asuma, you have Ino, Shikamaru and Choji. The next generation of Ino Shikacho. Minato said. Yes, the change that I have made is this. I have exchanged the places of Hinata and Sakura. What? Kurenai shouted. I specifically requested Hinata for my team. Haruka explained. Minato said before Kurenai had the chance to continue, you know that Kurenai wanted to make a reconnaissance team. Yes, and while Sakura doesn't have the Byakugan, she has an excellent chakra control which is perfect for Genjutsu. She will be able to capture the target, while Kiba and Akamaru come closer to it and Shino drains the chakra. Hinata is shy around Naruto. Kurenai started. By being in the same team as Naruto, her shy nature will disappear. Haruka said, may I continue? At that Minato nodded. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Now another reason why Sakura is with you, Kurenai, is that, to be blunt, if she is with Sasuke and Naruto, the team will be set for failure. Why? Asuma asked. Sakura and Ino are the biggest fangirls of Sasuke Uchiha, but while Ino would be able to put her feelings for Sasuke aside, due to her being from a ninja clan, she knows how serious the work of a genin is. Sakura, as you know, come from a civilian family. At that Minato nodded. While this isn't bad per se, she has tendency to look at the world in a romantic way. She believes, basically, that if she is captured, Sasuke will drop everything to come and save her. Furthermore, she hates Naruto. This belief is dangerous, Jade said and looked at Itachi. Yes, due to this she cannot be put into a team with Sasuke and Naruto. Haruka finished. I approve of the change, Minato said to the dismay of Kurenai. But she begun. If you are her sensei, Kurenai, she may live longer. Understood, Hokage-sama, the female Jonin said. However, Hinata team, is it not dangerous to put the kids together? What do you mean? Asuma asked. Well, you have Hinata with the Byakugan, Naruto who is the Hokage's son and a major powerhouse, and then you have Sasuke who has the ability to unlock the Sharingan. This team alone will be a serious target, Kurenai said. I understand your concern, Minato said. This is why we are disbanding our Anbu team for now, Jade said. Mia is the most logical of us, so she'll help from time to time your team, Asuma sensei. At that Asuma nodded. Ryu has excellent chakra control and good medical knowledge, so once a week he will take the girls and teach them medical jutsu. Itachi is good with Genjutsu, Kurenai sensei, and he will help your team from time to time. Kurenai nodded. And I will be helping Kakashi with his team from time to time. When we are finished with them, the kids will be some of the strongest genin that Konoha have produced. With Kakashi perpetual lateness, it is possible that you'll be the teacher of Team 7 most of the time. Well, see, I have ideas to make Kakashi be on time, Jade said as he looked at the gray-haired ninja, who even now was reading porn. With Naruto and Team 7. Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata were at Ichiraku and having lunch. Hinata was blushing all the time and couldn't believe her luck that she was in a team with Naruto. Suddenly she was returned to reality when she heard Sasuke addressing her. Hinata, are you okay? The boy asked. Why yes, just thinking, the girl said. Good, because we have to talk. Naruto said. Me and Sasuke have suspicions who is going to be our sensei, and we will know for sure if he is late or not. How would we know that? Hinata asked. Well, we have 5 options and we know that 4 on them are always on time, so if our sensei is late we will know for sure, Sasuke said. Now, you must know something, this wasn't the real genin test, Naruto said. Had do you mean? Hinata said. This test was to decide who has the potential to become a genin, Sasuke said. This is why only one team from 3 will pass and become genin. Now, The real Genin test is always given by our Jonin instructor, and whatever the test is, the end result is for the Jonin to see if we can work together, Naruto said. Now, as we mentioned, there are 5 possible choices for our Jonin. If my brother or anybody of his teammates is our Jonin instructor, then all beats are open for the test. However, if the Jonin assigned to our team is Kakashi, then we have a possible advantage. Such as? Hinata asked curiously. Well, first you need to know that Kakashi is on time, only for serious missions, meaning C rank and above. Naruto said he has the bad habit of arriving late for any meeting. If he tells you to be on a training ground on certain time, more than likely he will be 2 hours late. Understood, Hinata said. Now, if Kakashi is our Jonin sensei, thus more than likely we will receive the bell test, Sasuke said. A bell test? Hinata said. Yes, this bell test started with the 3rd team when he was though by the 1st and 2nd Hokage, then the 3rd gave it to his team. Then Jiraiya gave it to his team, which consisted of my father and 2 others. Then my father gave it to his team, which Kakashi was a member, and it is possible that Kakashi give us, if it's him, the same test. Naruto said. Now the test is designed to sow discord between the Genin, Sasuke said, as it is called the bell test. The test is like this. The prospective team of 3 is presented with 2 bells and told that 2 will pass and the other who doesn't have a bell will fail, and he or she will return to the academy. So if is this test, how do we pass it? We work as a team, Naruto said, and took 2 marbles out of his pocket. Jade had told me that there is always a way to arrive to the end result. What do you mean? Hinata asked. Here, watch this, Naruto said, and took a marble in each of his hands, then clasped Sasuke and Hinata hands. Now I have 2 marbles, which are standing in for the bells, however. By holding them like this, each of us has a marble, Hinata said, smiling. Yes, by using this method, we have beaten the system, Sasuke said. Now you must know one last thing. Each of the Jonin will ask us about our dreams. Now it is possible that the Jonin doesn't tell us anything about his goals, expectations or end results. If this is the case, give the minimum of information possible. Treat it like you are at interrogation. Your end result is for the interrogator to know the least amount of information regarding you and your mission, so give the littlest detail possible, Sasuke said. The 3 Genin didn't know, but they were being spied upon by the Hokage, Kakashi and Jade. Both Minto and Jade were smirking at the pudding Kakashi. So your final verdict, Kakashi, the young Anbu asked. There will be no test of any kind. Team 7 pass, Hokage-sama said. Kakashi resigned. Leave it to me, Jade said, and disappeared. 2 hours later. All of the teams have returned to the academy, and Team 7 watched one by one a Jonin entering the room, calling a team and exiting. Finally the only team left was Team 7, and to their big surprise Kakashi was on time for once. The Jonin smirked as he saw Sasuke and Naruto trying to dispel the illusion. Meet me at the roof, he said, and teleported. The 3 Genin looked at each other and quickly left the room, their destination the roof, where to their immense surprise Kakashi wasn't alone, as Jade was there also. What are you doing here? Sasuke asked. We watched you today, Jade said, and we made a conclusion regarding your future as a team. Now you need to wait until tomorrow, and your mission is as follow. You need to retrieve 3 scrolls. Each of these scrolls will be guarded by Shade, Flare and Onyx. To complete your mission you need to have all 3 scrolls. When you have them, you'll open them. On each of them there is a part of our decision for the future of your team. The message will be revealed only if you have your 3 scrolls, understood? Hi, the 3 prospective Genin said. One last thing, Jade said. Shade, Flare and Onyx will use their considerate skills to make the challenge difficult, however neither Shade or Onyx will use their most dangerous abilities, thus however doesn't make the challenge more easy. Understood. Hi Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata said, and watched how Jade and Kakashi disappeared. What does that mean? Hinata asked. It means that they have made a decision regarding our team, Sasuke said. However, they want to see our abilities, so they gave us a challenge, Naruto finished. Who are Shade, Flare, and Onyx? Asked Hinata. Shade is a leopard who is bigger than he tigers in the Forest of Dead, Flare is a phoenix, and Onyx is a basilisk, a snake. Naruto said. Not long ago he battled Mondra for the leadership of the snake clan. Mondra. Hinata shuddered. One of the 3 legendary summoning animals. Yes, Sasuke said. Mondra was arrogant and a man-eater. Hinata shuddered, so Onyx challenged him to a fight as he knew that this was the only way. Only way for what? Hinata asked. You see, the basilisk is the most dangerous snake alive. It has killer sight if it wishes, and its venom can kill in less than a minute, Naruto explained. The basilisk is known by another name also, Sasuke said. And that is? Hinata asked. The king of snakes. All snakes must obey him. Mondra didn't like that, so he attacked Onyx for the title of king of snakes and lost in under a minute, Naruto said. So what does this mean for us? Hinata asked. Well, Onyx won't use her deadly sight or venom, that however doesn't make her easier. The good thing is due to her size he most likely be on the ground. Shade is a leopard and leopards are very agile, so expect him hiding in the trees or on the ground. The trickiest will be Flare, as he is permitted to use all of his abilities. One of them give him the means to travel by fire, Sasuke said. So we need to strategize, Hinata said, and the two boys nodded. The next day found the three genin in one of the bigger training grounds. The first thing that Naruto did was to make few shadow clones, transform them into flies and send them ahead to study the terrain and hopefully find the location of the three animals. Sasuke, what is the plan? Hinata asked. Let me think about it, said the young Uchiha. Okay, for Onyx, she is fast, agile and slippery. We need to do something that will prevent her using these qualities. No, Naruto, forcing her to go in that fallen tree, that one of your clones saw won't work. Why? Naruto asked. From what you have told me, she is very smart, so she'll know that it is a trap, Hinata said. So what is the plan? The Hokage's son asked. We must do something to make her chase us and to leave the area that she is guarding, said Sasuke. Then Naruto, you will make many clones and use ninja wire to prevent her movement, then I will exhale some smoke and darken the area around her. Hinata, when darkness falls, use your Byakugan to help you see where the scroll is. You need to be fast, as this won't stop her for long. Hi, Hinata said. But Sasuke, Naruto. Yes, the boys said. You said that she is the queen of snakes. I think is possible that she may have called reinforcements. Good call, Hinata. Naruto said. We haven't even though about it. What are we going to do about it? Sasuke asked. Well, use my clones against the snakes, Naruto said. They will be enough. I hope to stop if there are other snakes involved. Good, we have a plan for the snakes, Sasuke said. Next, Shade. Let me think about it, Hinata said. Leopards are agile, good climbers, and stealthy. They have excellent vision as they are a cat. Anything I have missed, she asked. Shade can use chakra, Naruto said. So he is like the Inuzuka dogs. Hinata finished. Perfect. Any ideas? Water, said Sasuke after some thoughts. What? Both his teammates asked. Water, Sasuke said. Like most cats, Shade isn't fan of it. He will enter the water if needed, but it's more likely that he will stay far away from it. There is a river in one part of the training ground, Naruto said as he thanks to his clones he had pretty good mental map of the area. Suddenly he smiled. What? Hinata said. There are 3 areas that divert my clones, the boy said smiling. And this is good. How? Sasuke asked. Thanks to my clones, I have a mental map of the whole area except these 3 spots, which makes them more than likely that the scrolls are there, Hinata said excitedly. What are the areas? Asked Sasuke. One is in the forest, one is close to the river, and the final one is among the rocks. So any ideas where our target are situated? Hinata asked. I know where Shade isn't likely to be, Naruto said. Where? Sasuke asked. The rocks, as he is black and not the normal leopard color, he will show himself against the rocks. So more than likely, he will be in the forest. Now Onyx is a snake and cold-blooded, so more than likely shall be on the rocks. Why? Hinata asked. The rocks are warm, so shall warm up and be more active, said Sasuke. Which leaves the river for flare, Hinata finished. Of course that is only a supposition, we could be totally wrong, Naruto said. Now to return to planning. We have plan for Onyx, however we need plans for Shade and Flare. Shade is tricky. For him, we need to cover our scent and be careful how much noise we make, as he has amazing senses, Sasuke said. Is it possible to use his senses against him? Hinata said. Kiba didn't use Akamaru when we were doing something with strong scent, as it was too strong for Akamaru. Being a big cat, I presume that Shade's senses will be ever higher. So if we could do something to stop him using his nose, our job may become a little easier. Naruto. Sasuke started. One Naruto special explosive tag coming up, said the blonde boy, and started to write a seal. So for Flare? Hinata asked. Flare will be the most difficult as he will be able to teleport. The only chance we have is one of us, to use a kunai to make him drop the scroll that he most likely be carrying as he flame out, because otherwise he will catch it and disappear. It will be tricky. Hinata. Yes, Naruto, you'll follow Flare with the Byakugan. Before he teleport, he becomes brighter as he uses more fire. The moment will be maybe painful to watch with the Byakugan activated as the fire will engulf him. You'll need to tell Sasuke when Flare is at brightest, for him to send his kunai to hopefully make him drop the scroll, otherwise he will stop his transportation and catch the scroll. So, we have a plan for each of our opponents. Hopefully, it will be enough, finished Sasuke. The kids didn't know, but they were being observed by the whole Namikaze Uchiha household. Minato looked at his family and said. So what do you think? Minato said. The kids have made sound plans for each of their opponents and the possible environment they will be in, Kushina said. They have through about Shade's strong suit and have managed to turn it against him, Rui said. This will be interesting, Mia said. Itachi nodded. Let's go, Kakashi. At that, Jade teleported to the clearing, while the Jonin said, I am sure that Jade will be able to do the presentation alone, he said, and continued to watch. Jade appeared before the Genin and looked for Kakashi, and didn't see him. Fuming, he looked at the trio and smirked as an idea come to mind. Genin, he said. Hi Jade sensei, the trio said. Shade, Onyx and Flare have positioned themselves in one of three locations, next to the river, onto the rocks and in the forest. They are guarding one of three scrolls. You need all scrolls to know if you pass or not. Remember, this exercise is also to see how you infiltrate a location and take the documents. Listen carefully. If you are unable to take the scrolls, each of your opponents may decide to surrender them if you have impressed them enough. This will only happen if you have impressed them, so give all you've got as it won't be easy. Understood. Hi Jade-sensei, the trio said, and suddenly they heard Jade's voice in their head. The trio looked at each other and smiled. This was going to be fun. Furthermore, this guaranteed them a C-rank mission. Furthermore, it was a good exercise in trapping, and the best thing, they couldn't get in trouble if they did that, as it was a mission given by their sensei. Onyx slithered in the forest as she patrolled her area to prevent the trio of genin taking her part of the secret message. Suddenly she stopped and tasted the air. The young snake was confused, as she was unable to understand how Naruto's scent was all around her. Curious, she started moving toward one clearing where the smell was stronger. She stopped at the end of the tree line and watched the trio standing in the clearing. Her confusion grew. How was it possible that she was seeing Sasuke, Hinata and Naruto, when her nose was telling her that Naruto was around her? Suddenly her attention turned toward the place where the scroll stood and tried to go to it. Tried was the key word, as she found herself bound by ninja wire, before smoke screen erupted in front of her. She sensed movement around her and soon she freed herself. She turned toward the hiding place of the scroll and found that it was missing. Her part of the exercise done, she started making her way to Jade to tell him how the genin fared against her. Jade was unhappy. He preferred the nice forest. However, from the three possible locations his name fell on the rocks when Jade was calling numbers. His black coat was visible during the day. If it was night he could hide, however as it was the day, he stuck out like a sore spot. He looked at his scroll and purred happily. No one would get it as long as he guarded it. Suddenly his highly evolved sense of smell picked a strong odor of something rotten that was mixed up with something flowery. Jade tried to escape it, however the smell surrounded him. He started looking for an escape route when he saw a small cave that appeared free of the horrid smell. He entered it as fast as he can, totally forgetting that he needed to guard the scroll. Suddenly, as fast it had appeared, the smell disappeared and he exited the cave and returned to the scroll location, to find to his horror the scroll missing. Ashamed, he turned tail and returned to Jade. Flare was flying over the river. In his left leg was the scroll. The phoenix loved the location as he could watch himself over the crystal water. His biggest flaw was that he was vain and loved to see his reflection in any reflective surface. Suddenly, he saw with his eyes a water jet coming toward him. Being a creature of fire, he wasn't a big fan of the water even if he enjoyed looking in it. Startled, he flamed out, never noticing that he had dropped the scroll. The three genin smiled as they congratulated themselves for a well-done mission. Each and every plan was successful even if some needed alteration. Now each of them held a scroll in their hands. They looked at each other and as one opened the scrolls and the hidden message appeared. Congratulations, you are officially team. Naruto was cackling, while Hinata and Sasuke were smiling. The reason? Kakashi was dangling on a rope, hair full of glitter and slime and clothes full of itching powder. Kakashi looked at them with dagger's eyes and said, "You know this will bring a lot of D rank as punishment," the silver-haired Jonin said. "No, it won't." Jade appeared smirking. "Why?" Kakashi asked. "Because they were following a training mission given to them by me." "A training mission?" Kakashi asked. "Yes, the parameters of the missions were to use as many traps as possible in order to capture and incapacitate a stronger opponent, and I must say they did an excellent job and earned their reward." "Reward?" Kakashi asked. -3 less D rank missions and 1 medium C rank mission. After all, capturing a Jonin of you caliber deserve a big reward. "What, seriously, Aniki? 3 less D ranks?" Naruto said, awed. "Yes, for a job well done during your test and for this." "Oh, and Kakashi." "Yes, let this be a lesson, as you will be pranked every time that you are more than half an hour late for training and missions, and to stimulate you kids, for each successful and ingenious prank on Kakashi will receive 1 less D rank." "But why?" Kakashi said. "Kakashi, me and you know that D ranks are glorified name to chores or make some poor genin do the task that I am too lazy to do. But they are meant to teach them teamwork," Kakashi said. "And using their considerate skills to try to trap either me or you, isn't?" Jade said disbelievingly. "Admit it, it's better for your sanity and theirs to prank you few times successfully, than to run multiple times after that demon cat." "Demon cat?" Hinata asked. "Tora, the daimyo wife cat." Jade said. "She has the bad habit of squeezing him so hard that the poor animal escape constantly, and it falls to you poor genin to chase and return it to her owner, so she can escape and all the process start all over again. If Jade has given you a personal mission, it'll do the same." Kakashi said, still dangling. "Use your skills and do everything in your power to get banned from this particular mission. If you manage to do that, I'll recommend you also for a medium C rank." "Understood, genin." "Hi sensei," the trio said excitedly as they knew Tora's reputation. Few weeks later, Kakashi was lounging in the Jonin lounge as it was him team day off. He opened his eye when he saw Asuma and Kurenai entering the room. Both his fellow Jonin had scratches on them, sticks in their hair and were exhausted. Tora mission? Kakashi asked. Tora mission. Asuma confirmed. My team has already done it at least 15 times. Mine 20 times, Kurenai said. And yours, Kakashi? After the first time, they were banned forever from that mission, Kakashi said proudly. How did you manage that? His two co-workers asked. My genin are very good and creative, he said. And no, I will not reveal how, it's their achievement, he said while thinking about how they did it. That day, his team was a little bit late, and when they arrived in the mission the only D rank that was left was the infamous Tora mission. Not having any other choice, they took the mission, already thinking of ways to get themselves banned. Naruto was thinking of possible ways to trap the feline, while Sasuke and Hinata were planning of what to do to make the capture easier. When they arrived at the last known location where Tora has been seen, Naruto sent few Bunshin ahead to make a trap using ninjas. Some of the wires there was going to be a variety of tags that ranged from sticky traps to glitter and feather. Hinata had with her some flash bombs that were pretty noisy, so they would be used also to scare the cat further. Sasuke was the one that came up with the plan. The three of them were doing to herd Tora to the trap that Naruto had made with the ninja wire. To do this they were going to use a triangle formation, with one on the left, the other on the right and the final one below. By using this method they would force Tora to go only ahead and into the sticky trap. Their target was finally in sight and the mission begun. Kakashi smiled at his genin proudly. They had managed to capture Tora in only a half hour. He looked at the cat. The poor animal had his fur singed, had tree sap on his fur with glitter and feathers mixed with it. All who saw his team stopped to watch with awe. The desk ninja was speechless when he saw the cat as well, the daimyo wife. TT Tora-chan, she stuttered. What have you done with it? The ninja asked. We executed the mission, said Sasuke. And in the shortest time, Naruto said proudly. But looked at it, the ninja continued, the cat is all filthy. Nowhere in the mission parameters it said that the cat need to be in pristine condition. The only parameter was to return the cat in one piece. Have we done that, boys? Hinata asked. Yes, Hinata said both boys. Kakashi was proud of how Hinata was presenting herself and her team, but that was no surprise as she was the Hyuga heiress and it was a requirement for her. Kakashi, you should know that from now on your team is banned from the Tora mission, Minato said while entering the mission office. Understood, Hokage-sama, Kakashi said. Oh, and Hokage-sama, I am to inform you that when I decide that my team is ready they are up for 1 C rank mission. So that makes 2 C ranks, Minato said, and Kakashi stopped and turned. Jade was serious. Yup, he was serious, Minato said. The next morning the Tora mission was updated. From now on the mission parameters stated that the cat was to be returned to her owner in excellent condition and unharmed to her owner and never to be given to Team 7. It has been already 3 months and Jade and Kakashi deemed Team 7 ready for an easy C rank mission. However, no one could have guessed that a simple escort mission to Wave would be anything but, and all started with a simple report given by an ex-Anbu team. You are sure about this information? Asked Minato while looking at his oldest son and his teammates. Yes, San, said Jade, the information that is here is accurate. So this mission is mislabeled and it is actually high B rank, possible A, but why it says it is simple escort mission, he asked. Most likely, because the village is poor and they have scraped whatever they could for it, Mia said. This man is very important. If he successfully finish his project, it will disturb the resident crime lord operation, Rui said. How likely is the encounter with enemy ninja? Minato asked. Very, at least B class, at possible 1 high class ninja, said Itachi. Do you know who the possible A class is? Minato asked. There is an unconfirmed rumor that one of the 7 is in this area, Mia said. What? Minato shouted, and Pauling, we cannot send fresh genin in this. This is why you'll send us with them, said Rui. It will not be perceived as strange as we have our brothers in the team and we have tagged along to train them. Itachi said, and Mia if needed may be able to chain our adversary and Rui will protect her as she will be vulnerable. Furthermore, we don't need the money, so the bridge builder will be paying only for a genin team and their Jonin, Mia said. And who knows, I am in need of a new sword, maybe one of the 7 will do, Jade said. Understood, Minato said, so this still be classified as an C rank mission, however I will add a note that I have upgraded it to an A rank due to the possibility of high level ninja encounter, and I am sending a team that will use the escort mission as a cover in order to deal with the treat. Hi, Hokage-sama, said the 4 of them and exited the room as Minato's secretary entered to take the mission parameters to the office. She read the sheet and said, a covered A rank, Hokage-sama? She asked. Yes, take the payment for it, from my salary, Minato said to her. Understood. 2 days later, Tazuna was nervous as he stood in front of the huge doors and the team of genin were awaiting their sensei. Not long after, he saw the sensei of Team 7, however he was being followed by a quartet. Next to one of the boys stood the biggest leopard he has ever seen. He started. Yo sweat, did the Hokage knew of his deceit? He noticed that the kids got more lively as he saw the ones approaching. "Aniki, what are you doing here?" the black-haired boy asked. "Are you here to send us off?" the girl asked. "No, Hinata, we are coming with you. As you know, we were grounded due to my injury and the Hokage has put us on light duty. We wanted to train you, but the Hokage said that you are going to your first C rank, and so we decided to come with you, to train you on the road. Father knows and approves, so don't worry," Jade said. Then and there the genin knew that something was off with the mission. They knew that Jade hasn't being wounded, and if it was only for training, only one or two of them would have joined them, as a team with 2 jonin was going to be overkill for a simple C rank. For the Hokage to send the best Anbu team in Konoha, that was Sasuke and Naruto opinion, there was something wrong. "So you are ready?" Jade asked. "Hi," the 3 genin said, and the group of 9 departed for Wave. Tazuna looked at the 4 people who had joined them and exhaled. It appeared that the 4 of them had really joined them to train the genin, as one of the black-haired youth had a balun in his hands and was explaining something to the blonde Gaki, and the boy was concentrating on a ball in his hands. He turned toward the black-haired duo and saw that the oldest was doing some signs and pushed the kid to repeat them, and the girl was surrounding her hand with chakra under the tutelage of the blonde boy and the brunette girl. He never noticed that from time to time the 4 were adding 1 or 2 signs. The genin were alert. Mia, Rui, Jade and Itachi had told them that the mission was classified higher and there was a possibility to meet enemy ninja. As they were walking, they saw a puddle in the middle of the road and the trio discreetly prepared themselves. The group of 9 passed the puddle and Hinata said low enough that only the ninja heard it. "I detect 2 chakra signatures in the puddle." "Good job, Hinata," Kakashi said. Tazuna stiffened when suddenly the blonde Gaki turned, followed by the black-haired male, and 2 kunai flew from their hands and impacted the 2 chains that were coming at him. The chains fell down and the bridge builder froze when he saw 2 ninja coming out of the puddle. The black-haired boys exhaled 2 giant fireballs at the 2 enemies, and the missing nins were tied with ninja wire around a tree courtesy of the 2 girls, however not before a single poisonous kunai was thrown and Jade was scratched. "So who do we have here?" Itachi asked while looking at them. "The demon brothers, they are Chunin-level ninjas that hold loyalty only to one person," Rui said. "Zabuza, Momoichi, Hermione said." "Genin," Jade said with authority. "Yes, Jade-sensei," the trio answered fast. "From now on, this mission is upgraded to a rank. Your job is to protect the client. The enemy who we will be facing is one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. It is said that he massacred his entire graduation class. Itachi, Rui, Mia, our real mission starts now." "Hi Taicho," the trio said. "Real mission?" Tazuna asked. "Yes, we have received intel that one of the 7 is in the area. As this is too close to Konoha and due to the civil unrest in Kiri, we must be vigilante. Now if it's not for a mission we cannot enter Mist, as that may be taken as declaration of war between Mist and Konoha," Jade said. "Then few days ago your mission request landed on the Hokage desk, so he gave us the mission, as it wouldn't have been strange to see us depart with this particular team, as we truly teach them from time to time," Mia said. "Furthermore, Naruto is our brother and Sasuke and Itachi also live with us," Rui finished. Itachi said. "So the original mission is still C ranked?" "No, with the presence of the demon brothers the mission was bumped to high B, lower rank mission." "Oh, and Tazuna," Jade said. Why yes, the poor man was already thinking of how to pay them. "When the bridge is completed, I have the authority to sign a trade contract with Wave." "Oh, thank you for this," Tazuna said. "Really thank you." 3 hours later, after hours of walking, the big group arrived at the edge of a river. There waiting for Tazuna was a small boat. The boatman stiffened when he saw the size of the group and said, "Tazuna, this is a big group and my boat will not be able to handle the number of passengers. I don't want to risk my luck a second time coming up here again, as soon Gato ships will start to patrol the area." "Don't worry about us," said Itachi. "Just take the genin and the silver-haired man with them in your boat and we will follow." The boatman nodded and soon Tazuna and Team 7 were in the boat. He turned to ask how the rest of the group was going to follow them and saw one of the black-haired boys and the older blonde-haired doing some signs. There was a puff of smoke and 2 huge snakes appeared. "What are they doing?" Tazuna asked as he saw the ninja jumping on the snakes, and the leopard entered the water and started to swim next to the boat. "They are saving chakra," Kakashi said while looking at them. "Why?" Naruto asked. "We know that the 4 of them can walk on water," Sasuke said. "Water walking?" Tazuna said, interested. "It is a requirement for a ninja, to know how to regulate their chakra," Mia explained as her snake approached. "One of the more difficult exercises is to know how much chakra our body expels. As the water is constantly moving, each step needs a different chakra level. Too little and the ninja is going to sink under the waves." "So why aren't you using this technique?" the boatman asked. "Because we want to conserve our chakra, as up ahead there will be a very dangerous opponent," Rui said, and Tazuna shivered. An hour later the group was finally crossed the river and the boatman disappeared into the mist. Now the group formation changed. Tazuna noticed. The leopard left its place next to Jade and positioned itself right in front of them, and 2 diamond formations were made. The genin were closer to him, and the Jonin walked in such a way to close any gaps. He noticed Jade, Itachi and Hinata eyes change color and he looked awestruck as he saw the Sharingan and Byakugan for the first time. He also noticed a subtle change in the behavior of the ninja when very slowly Jade and Itachi exchanged places, with Jade positioning himself in front and Itachi at the back. He turned his head and saw Hinata behind him. "What are they doing?" he asked lowly. "Preparing," Naruto answered. "Hinata is using her Byakugan to watch our back with Itachi and my brother is watching our front with Shade." "Shade?" Tazuna asked. "The leopard," Sasuke said. "You see his posture right now?" "Yes," Tazuna said and looked at how the leopard walked. "You see his head," Hinata said. "Behind him his ears are straight, his eyes doesn't miss anything, his body language is alert as you can see the twitch in his tail. For now we are safe, however this may change at any moment," Kakashi said. As he said that, Shade ears folded and he started to growl. Everybody attention landed on a white rabbit. The ninja stiffened. "This is the wrong time of the year for the rabbit to have white fur," Hinata said. "Duck," Itachi said, and everybody followed his order as a huge sword embedded itself in a tree and a figure stood on it. "Zabuza Momoichi, the demon of the bloody mist," Jade said. "This will be interesting," he said as he took out his sword and lightning run through it. Zabuza Momoichi observed the group while he balanced on the end of his weapon. Usually only the sight of him sent the enemy running, however this wasn't the case this time. He stopped analyzing his opponents and jumped to the left as the biggest leopard he had even seen impacted the tree a little above his sword, and to his immense surprise, the medium-sized tree fell over. There and then he heard electric cracking and saw a lightning dragon coming toward. Looked for an escape route, however he found himself trapped and he was struck point blank by the dragon. "The demon of the bloody mist," he heard one of the black-haired Jonin says. "I expected more, to tell the truth." "Nani?" Zabuza shouted. "Hey punk, my reputation is unrivaled." "Then your skills must have gone down," the Jonin smirked. "After all, you just stood there and you did nothing. Even the genin would have thought of something to escape the hit. You had at least 5 seconds. "Naruto." "Hi sensei," the blonde-haired kid said. "Same situation, same time limit. How do you escape?" "Kawairami," the 3 genin said as one. "Excellent, you see our genin know that and they graduated the academy few months ago," the Jonin said while watching Zabuza. The Kiri nin was getting more and more frustrated. He had never met somebody like the Jonin. He had earned his reputation, damn it. He saw the smirk on the face of the Jonin and he lost it. He dislodged his sword and lunged at the Jonin, who smiled and met him in the middle. Zabuza smiled. His sword was one of the 7 for a reason. Each and every one of them had something unique. He prepared to see his opponent's sword break. However, he was disappointed as the lean sword was meeting his blow per blow. His ire grew as he was unable to land a hit on the boy. However, he had received few scratched. "Your sword is impressive, I'll give you that. However, I have a question for you," Jade said with a smirk. "Okay, I'll humor you as this is the last battle, that you'll see," Zabuza said. "Are you trying to overcompensate something with the size of that sword?" Jade asked, and every ninja in his group smiled. "Nani?" Zabuza again saw red, but then and there he fell faint and stumbled. "Are you feeling faint, Zabuza?" Jade asked. "What have you done to me?" the swordsman asked. "Did you really through that? It'll be that easy to kill?" Jade asked and saw the true in his face. "You see, your swords are not the only ones who have special abilities. Mine also has an ability of his, can make itself stronger if it wants to. You see, long ago it had absorbed the venom of a powerful and deadly snake. I just needed to scratch you and the poison entered your bloodstream." Zabuza knew there and there that he was in trouble. His only salvation was a boy that he had saved long ago. The boy considered himself a tool and Zabuza was okay with letting him think that. He prepared to give the sign when his heart sank as he saw the claws of the leopard as they were bloody. Soon he felt that his energy was dissipating and he fell on his knees. The last thing that he saw before his sight faded forever were the people that surrounded the Jonin. Tazuna stood speechless. Like all the inhabitants of the elemental nations, he knew the reputation that the 7 swordsmen held, and to see one of them fall so easily was just mind-blowing. He watched as Rui tossed 2 sealing scrolls to Jade and the black-haired Jonin sealed the body of Zabuza in one and in the other he sealed the immense sword. "What are you doing?" he asked. "We seal them separately as when Kurikage becomes stable again, the Hokage will return the sword to the next Mizukage, as the weapons rightfully belong to Mist. However, as Zabuza is a missing nin, we are going to present his body and collect the bounty," Itachi explained. "For one of the 7, he wasn't very impressive," Tazuna said. "This is because while strong, Zabuza wasn't the strongest among the 7," Mia said. "There is another missing nin among them," Rui explained, "and if we had encountered him the plan for action would have been vastly different. His name is Kisame," Tazuna said Jade as he anticipated the question, and his sword is Samaheda. Kisame is a person who has immense chakra reserves and his sword is semi-sentinel as it can feed from his opponent's chakra. "What would have happened if it was Kisame against us?" the bridge builder asked. "We would have summoned the Hokage," Mia simply said. "The Hokage? Why?" Because he is the strongest ninja that we know. Jade stated the parameters of the mission was to protect you. This would have been impossible to accomplish if it was Kisame against us. But, why? My brother and his team are one of the strongest squads that Konoha possess, however their attention would be divided between protecting us and fighting an S-rank ninja. If they were alone, they could have done it with little trouble as all of them are classed as S-rank, however with 3 fresh genin they would not have risked a confrontation, Sasuke explained. Our information said that there was going to be a swordsman in our way, however thanks to Mia deduction we hoped that this wasn't Kisame. Ah, how did you come by this conclusion? Tazuna asked as the group continued walking. Kisame may be a missing nin, however he has standards. He will only fight if it's advantageous for him and he will engage in fight if he decide it's necessary. He is prideful man who will not lower himself to follow orders of someone who he doesn't respect. Gato is one such person. What makes him dangerous is the scores of bandits he employs. Very few high-level missing nins will lower themselves to follow such a man orders. Zabuza reasons may have been desperate, Kakashi explained. The group descended in comfortable silence and Tazuna started to observe them. Naruto had returned to trying to puncture the ball with his chakra. Sasuke was doing hand signs faster and faster each time and Hinata was balancing 5 senbons over her fingers under the watchful eyes of Mia and Rui. Kakashi was walking and reading a very familiar small orange book, and Itachi and Jade were talking between them while from time to time looking at Shade body language. Seeing that the cat was calm he knew that there wasn't any danger around them. Finally after a long time they arrived at Wave and Tazuna led the way to his house. Tsunami, Inari, I am home, said Tazuna. I am so glad, I was so worried, a beautiful woman said. Team 7 and Team Jade, I want you to meet my daughter Tsunami and somewhere in the house is my grandson, Tazuna said. How was your travel? Did everything went all right? More or less, madam, we had some ninja encounter, but they weren't really worrisome, Jade intervened. Oh, I am happy, please come in and try to relax. Tsunami turned toward the kitchen. What are you doing? Tazuna asked quietly. Do you want to worry her that, after you were a B rank and an A rank missing nins and one of them being one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist? Jade answered as quietly. No, I don't, he consented. Excuse me, Tsunami returned, I didn't expect such a big party and I don't know if I'll be able to accommodate all of you. This isn't a problem, ma'am, Rui said. Mia and Hinata will take one of the guests' rooms and Kakashi and I will take the other. What about the 4 that are left? Tsunami asked. We have 2 big tents with us and we will share with our brothers, Jade answered. If you are sure, Tsunami said uncertainly. We are sure, don't worry, Sasuke said. Hours later the ninjas met Inari. The small boy looked at the big group on people and snared. How can these outsiders know their pain? The black-haired genin and the girl were laughing at something the blonde boy said. Having had enough, he said. You have no right to laugh at that. The table fell silent. You don't know what is suffering, he said and ran away from the table and into the night. Inari, Tsunami cried after him and she saw the jonin named Jade getting up. Don't worry, I'll find him, he said. Shade with me. The leopard exited after him into the night. Inari was in a meadow not far from his home. Suddenly he saw movement and jumped when he saw the huge shadow that came out of the bush. He recognized the huge leopard as the one that was with the Konoha ninjas, and not far behind the cat appeared one of the black-haired jonin. He didn't said anything as he sat next to Konoha. He watched the stars for some time and he finally said, I am sorry for your loss. What? Inari said, not understanding. I may not be as smart as Mia, however, I can recognize that you have lost somebody and not long ago. Am I right? My stepfather was killed by Gato. He tried to confront him and Gato killed him, the boy said. Again, I am sorry, however you still have your birth family, Jade said. From 3 to 5 Mia, Rui and I were alone. What do you mean? The 3 of us are originally from Mist, we lived there during the start of the bloodline purge. Our parents, that I don't remember how they look now, were against them and told us to hide away when my father brought a wounded survivor of the purge. They wanted us to survive as they knew that if they were discovered both of them would be killed for the simple fact that they were hiding a person with a bloodline limit, Jade started to explain. What happened? Inari asked. A message that they were hiding a person was given to the Muzikage and he sent his ninjas. Our parents and the man who they hid were killed by these ninjas. There was another reason why we hid. You see, Mia is special, she can use chakra chains if necessary, which is a very rare bloodline trait from the destroyed land of our parents were from there or a descendant from the Uzumaki that lived there. Inari listened mesmerized. So from the age of 3 to 5 we traveled the world and entering illegally ninja villages and observing their techniques, until one day we found ourselves in Konoha. What we didn't knew was how our future was going to change 2 days later. What happened? Konoha was attacked by a tailed beast, and we entered the battle. Naruto was just born then, not even an hour old when the attack happened. The attention of the Hokage turned toward us and not long after the attack he and his wife adopted us and we grew as Naruto siblings. What I am trying to say, Inari, is that bad things may and will happen, this is the nature of life, it isn't perfect, however what is important is what we will do about it. You see, if we haven't chosen to act, Naruto would have been an orphan probably. Why? Kushina had a difficult birth and she had lost a lot of blood, so she would have died of a blood loss most likely. Mia gave her something that helped her until a doctor could see her, and the fourth would have done something stupid and most likely killed himself. Why are you telling me this? Inari asked. Well, you can either do nothing, and leave the fear of Gato and his goons control you, or you can do something and conquer your fear. Gato may be powerful, however he is just one man with money and a small army of bandits, he doesn't have ninjas anymore, so he cannot threaten you with that. We are here to protect your grandfather and defeat Gato, however there are many more people like him, and the next time we won't be here. What are you going to do then? Are you going to hide or are you going to defend yourselves? Think about this. Inari looked at his friend and smiled as he got up. He pondered over Jade's words and decided that he will do something about Gato if possible. He was going to protect his mother and grandfather for sure. The following days were full of work. The two teams had divided their forces. Most of the days Mia and Rui were guarding the house in Tsunami as they expected Gato to use his hired hands to attack Tazuna daughter and grandson. Team Kakashi was helping Tazuna on the bridge site and the work was doing faster as Naruto was using two groups of shadow clones. While the bigger group was helping with the bridge, the smaller one was doing chakra control exercises. Sasuke and Hinata had followed Naruto's idea and each one had made two clones and sent them to train in the forest. While this was going on, Itachi and Jade scoured the area for Gato base. Finally after few days their efforts paid off as they found out Gato base. Jade and Itachi sent two shadow clones to look around. The clones stood on the concrete wall that surrounded Gato base. The clones noticed that there weren't any guards on their place on the wall, but on the other walls that surrounded the compound there was a patrol of at least 2-3 people. Also the clones could see that the grounds of the base were patrolled by 4 teams of 2. The clones observed that each team replaced the previous in the rotation in about 3 minutes, which was plenty of time for ninjas to sneak past them. Having seen everything that was needed outside, the 2 clones dispelled themselves. Itachi and Jade smiled as they got the information from their clones. The 2 Jonin looked at each other and decided to infiltrate the compound when the shift was changing, as the day guards would be thinking about how many minutes they had and the new shift would think about what they needed. Plans made, they retreated to Tsunami house. Rui and Mia looked up as the door opened and Itachi and Jade entered the house. One look at their faces was all the confirmation they needed. They have found Gato. Mia and Rui stood up and went to prepare themselves for the tonight mission under Tsunami puzzled look. Half an hour later in the living stood 4 figures dressed in the standard Konoha Anbu gear minus the mask. Each and every one was doing final preparations. Rui was sharpening his Senbon, Mia was preparing some ninja wire, while Itachi and Jade were preparing their kunai and shuriken. By the end of their preparation, Team Kakashi entered the room and Jade looked at them asking a silent question and Kakashi nodded. Reassured, Team Jade exited Tazuna house. Without needing a sign, each genin sat close to one of the inhabitants of the house. What was all that about? Asked Tazuna. Our brothers have found Gato base, Sasuke said as Naruto nodded. From now until they come back, we are to stay close to you, Hinata said. This way if bandits come you will be safe, Kakashi finished. Team Jade arrived at their destination and made final preparations. Their mission was to infiltrate Gato base, take any and all documents that looked important, steal his money and kill the crime lord. The foursome jumped at the unguarded end of the fence and waited for the hole between the rotating guards. Finally the opportunity arose and the team entered the compound undetected. They looked at each other and separated. Mia went after the documents as she was the one that could easily find anything important from them, without taking all of them. Rui had many scrolls with him and he went after Gato treasure. Jade went to look for other missing nins that could be on Gato payroll and Itachi went after Gato himself. Itachi found the room in which the crime lord was. The man did a giant mistake as the moment that he looked into Itachi Sharingan everything was over. Itachi had Gato trapped in Tsukiyomi where the crime lord experienced every bad thing that he had done over and over. This was too much for Gato and his brain shut down. Mia found the office room quite easily and started to search for any documents of Gato that looked important. After 15 minutes she had found anything relevant, which included bank statements, shipping manifests and much more. She started to seal the information when Jade appeared to protect her and to help her. Finally their job done, they went in search of Itachi and Rui. Rui found Gato treasury and whistled in admiration. The amount of money and gold reminded him of his trust fund in England while he was still a part of the Malfoy family. He took out 3 scrolls and started to seal the contents. He separated the money in 2, the biggest part went to Konoha and the smallest was for Wave. He put any gold and jewelry that he found in a separate scroll. Job done, he went in search of his team. The team was finally together and looked at each other before exiting the compound. The whole mission duration was over and done in under 30 minutes. Itachi looked at his team and made a sign and the team disappeared into the dark forest to Tsunami house. Hinata was using her Byakugan when she saw 4 familiar signatures and smiled. Hinata, Kakashi asked. 4 familiar signatures and they are coming this way. No one has any distortion in their chakra output, so everybody is fine, she said to everybody relief. Gato, Tazuna asked as he saw Team Jade entering the house. Taken care of, Itachi said. This is something to help Wave stand on his feet, Rui said and tossed the smaller scroll. What is it? Inari asked. Gato, money, it will help Wave to rise on its feet, said Rui without saying anything about the 2 other scrolls. Thank you very much, Tazuna said happily. It was our pleasure, Mia said. Now there is nothing to scare you and to intimidate your workers, furthermore we as teams will be able to speed up the construction. 4 weeks later the 2 teams stood at the end of the newly finished bridge and looked toward Tazuna and the inhabitants of Wave. Everybody was weaving and saying goodbye to the teams as they have done something that was missing for a long time, hope. Team 7 and Team Jade stood in front of the Hokage and were making a report about their missions. He listened with big interest about their encounter with the Demon of the Mist. Here is Zabuza body. Father Jade gave a scroll with a black tie on it. This will pay for the A mission instead of the C rank that Tazuna told us about. This scroll hold one of the swords of the 7. When things in mist die down and there is a new Mizukage, you can return the sword in show of good fate, Mia said. Then this is exactly what we are going to do, Minato said. Thank you, Mia. Happy to help, Minato said. Mia, now what we are going to do, Dad? Naruto said. Now you are going to have 2 weeks of downtown, the Hokage said. Just us or Jade also? Sasuke said. Just you squirts, Rui said. The Hokage may have need of us. We understand, the Genin said and exited the Hokage office. They don't know that the Chunin exam is in 2 weeks, right? Itachi said with a smile. No, so which section if any we are going to be responsible for? Asked Jade. The Forest of Death, Minato said. Oh, our favorite training ground, Mia said calmly. Jade, you are responsible for the tigers in the forest. They may attack the Genin, but I don't want any deaths caused by them. Do you understand? The huge cat nodded. Jade, your basilisk will be responsible for the snakes in the directives as Shade. Anything else that I have missed? One of the Suna Genin teams is composed of the Cage children. Father, if our research is correct, one of them is a host, Jade said seriously, and Minato eyes hardened. Do you know who? I have an idea, but I am not 100% sure, Jade said. Okay, when the delegations arrive observe the Sand team, understood. Hi, the 4 said and started to exit the room, however Mia stopped and turned toward Minato. What is it? The Hokage said. Minato, Naruto is 12 already, so the 3 of us believe that it is time to tell him about the fox. I know that it will be painful, but hell panic if he unlocks the fox chakra unknowingly. You are right, tonight we will tell him. Do you want us there? Itachi asked. This is up to you, guys. The 4 looked at each other and said. We'll give you privacy, however we won't be far if you need us, Itachi said. Thank you. The same night, Naruto returned home after having met with his friends. The mission had exhausted him, however it was nice to see them. He entered the living room and saw his parents. He looked around and didn't see anyone else. They aren't here, sweetie, Kushina said. Where are they? Naruto asked. It is not like them. We have something to tell you, son, and it isn't easy, Minato said. What it is? You know that on your birthday, the 9-tailed fox attacked. Yes, Naruto said. What is it to do with me? Well, what you don't know is that Kyuubi had been in Konoha since the time of the first Hokage. In fact, his first host was the Hokage wife, Mito Uzumaki, Minato said. Uzumaki have huge chakra reserves, and I was chosen to be the next host of the fox, Kushina said. When Mito died, the fox was sealed in me. There is a time where the female host is especially vulnerable, Naruto. This time is when they are pregnant and especially when they give birth, as the seal can break, Minato said. We tried to keep the location of where the birth was, however an enemy knew and used you as a hostage, and then kidnapped your mother and freed the Kyuubi. Thanks to the Uzumaki vitality, I didn't die. However, I was pretty weak, and I wasn't a good candidate for a resealing, and well, Naruto, you were the only choice, so your dad had to make a very difficult decision and he sealed the fox inside you, Kushina said. Naruto, Minato started. I'll need to be alone, Naruto said and went to his room, under the helpless eyes of his parents. Few hours later, Jade returned to the house with Itachi, Sasuke, Mia, Ryu. He took one look at his parents and huffed in exasperation. Then he took a scroll and a kunai and went to his brother's room. Hey, Naruto, how are you doing? I am a monster, I am the fox, the boy said without looking. Look at me, little brother. Jade sat on Naruto's bed and the boy turned his head. Now tell me, what is this? A scroll, Naruto said, not understanding. And this? A kunai. Now watch carefully. With these words, Jade sealed the kunai in the scroll. Now, where is the kunai? In the scroll. Naruto said. What is the point of all this? Going to it. Now is the scroll a kunai? No. And why? Because the kunai is sealed in the kunai. Then what is the difference? Naruto, in this case you are the scroll, and the fox is the kunai. You two are different, so don't worry. Do you understand? Yes, the blonde boy said. Good, now let's go to the offs. Deep in the forest of sound there was something stirring. Orochimaru the snake Sannin had survived and plotted his revenge. His survival was due of his impure resurrection technique. Nobody knew but he had an apprentice once. That apprentice had returned after Minato had freed the child and foolishly had transplanted a piece of the Sannin body into him. That foolish mistake had costed him his life. Orochimaru had escaped the Leaf Village wearing his apprentice face and had ingrained himself into a secret group made of other powerful missing nins. Painstakingly, he had managed to collect some blood of the leader who had the famed Rinnegan eye as well as some blood from his second-in-command as her paper jutsu fascinated him. He had managed to collect blood from some nameless missing nin during one of his missions. The nin was important enough to receive the honor of Orochimaru attention because he had the ice bloodline. However, the life in the group was not to be as his deeds have been discovered and he had fled in disgrace. However, he wasn't irritated about being discovered because he had obtained everything that he wanted from the group and had planned to move on other better things. His goal of the perfect body was still alive, and he knew exactly who to choose as his target. The Hokage black-haired son. He was unable to identify the unique property of his blood, only that it somehow absorbed bloodlines and it made them a part of the boy. His goal was to obtain the boy and maybe some blood, but there were problems. If he took the boy and injected him with the cocktail of different blood and they all took, he may have a ninja that is even too strong for him. However, if he took only the blood, as there was something different in the boy blood, was it possible for the blood to survive outside his body with all the enhancements and for Orochimaru to inject himself with it? If it was possible, this would be the best result, but if not he would still need the boy. What to do, what to do? Finally an idea formed. This was going to be the best chance he had as Konoha would be stretched to thin due to the Chunin exam. He was going to take the boy, during the exam. He knew that the fourth teleportation jutsu had some range before becoming useless. If he managed to go over it with his prize he would be safe. Konoha the second exam. The second part of the Chunin exam was about to begin. Many teams had managed to pass Ibiki psychological part due to Naruto and Sasuke big mouths. Itachi and Jade would have a lot of things to say to their brothers regarding the meaning of discretion, and what better way the 2 weeks of tort, they meant training under Gai-sensei. The signal was given and the genin entered the forest of dead. Jade soon followed them, not knowing that the decision to separate from his team would cost him big. Akusa genin looked at his prey and smelled. The genin was in fact Orochimaru himself and he quickly dispatched his 2 teammates and starting pursuing his target. He had only one chance, to catch him unaware before that cat appear. He had to think what to do. He looked at a dosage of the cocktail in a small hypodermic needle. The bloodlines that could be found in it were the Rinnegan, the Hyuden, Konin paper bloodline, and a Kagaya bone bloodline. His throws turned toward the forest. Kidnapping the boy was out of the question as he could see the fourth tri-pronged kunai. No, the Hokage was keeping watch. His best chance was to attack his target and inject him with the mixture while he was dazed from the shock of the collision and put his seal on the boy. Finally he saw the boy and started doing the sign of a jutsu. As he collided with him, the boy was thrown against the trunk of a tree and was dazed for a moment. Orochimaru extended his mouth and bit the shoulder of the boy as he injected the blood cocktail into his neck and disappeared into the forest. The whole attack was maybe 10 to 15 seconds long. He found a place without any surveillance by the Hokage or his Anbu and left Konoha. The only thing left was to see if the boy would survive and to wait for him to come to him. Jade's whole body was on fire. A minute ago a scared Kusa genin has collided with him, before disappearing into the forest seconds later. He had felt 2 punctures, but he was winded from the shock of the collision and wasn't sure if he was attacked. His throws were becoming sluggish and he fell into darkness. The last thing he saw was a bright ball of fire. Flare was flying over the forest of death, keeping eye on the chakra pulses his bonded and the kids were emitting, when he sensed a fluctuation in his master aura. He teleported just in time to see Jade falling down and blacking out. The phoenix trilled in worry and tried to wake him up, but Jade was unresponsive to the phoenix. What was worrisome was that his bonded temperature was rising up and his breathing has become difficult. Not knowing what to do he flared into the hospital. The attending doctor was doing his rounds when in front of him a ball of flame appeared. He looked for extinguisher, when he saw that the fireball disappeared and Jade Phoenix appeared bringing a body with him. The doctor jumped into action and saw that the ninja was in fact Jade and he was burning hot. Having experienced Phoenix travel himself, he knew that the bird flames weren't the reason. By that time he was surrounded by nurses and they steadied Jade and transferred him to a bed. One of the doctors ran to get the Hokage. Minato ran in the hospital, followed closely by Jade's team and Kushina. Itachi, Mia and Rui were giving their reports of the situation when an Anbu with a doctor from the hospital appeared. The trio was getting worried about Jade as he wasn't reported to any of the groups that were surveying the forest. Kushina was there also to spy, look at Naruto team progress, when the message has been delivered. Now they have left Kakashi in the tower with orders if Naruto team appeared to don't tell them about Jade. The group knew that his condition was serious if the doctor had found an Anbu to take him to the Hokage and wanted the teens to concentrate on the exam. Hokage Sama the attending met the leader of the village. How is he? How is my son Minato? Asked panicked. Minato Tsunade saw him and came to them. Tsunade, if you are here it means that it is bad, Kushina said. Why do you think that? Tsunade asked while inside she was worried for the brat. Because, you are here, that tell us that it is serious. If it wasn't an Anbu and only an Anbu would have given us a message, not an Anbu and a doctor, Rui said. Tsunade, what has happened to Jade? Mia asked. Mia he was attacked, the slug Sanin said. I don't know by whom, but it has had injected him with a mix of bloodlines. This never has been done before and I am worried that he may not survive. There is something else, Hokage-sama the attending said. The attack left him with a strange seal on his shoulder. Seal? What seal? Itachi asked. However both Kushina and Minato said together. Show us. The attending nodded and he and Tsunade brought him to Jade room. Everyone stopped as they saw their son, brother and friend hooked to the many machines. Kushina cried and she and Mia ran to the bed and took his hands and turned toward Tsunade. He is so warm. This is the fever, Kushina, we had to put him in medically induced coma as he was in pain, the doctor said. He felt pain, while unconscious, Itachi said. We have never seen this before, Tsunade said, however Minato said somberly. I have, but the seal is new. He looked at it. What, where? Everyone asked. Few nights after the Kyuubi attack, he was attacked and kidnapped, as you know. Yes, by Orochimaru, Tsunade said. He was injected the same way and while I was looking at his documents I saw a design for a jutsu that gave a variety of seals. One of them looked a lot like this one, he finished. Do you remember their purpose? Kushina asked. To control someone, he said darkly. Then, Orochimaru will fail, Rui said smirking. Yes, Mia added. But how? Orochimaru, if it's him, is very powerful, Tsunade said. Well, a powerful man, tried to control Jade before, Rui said and looked at Minato and the Hokage understood that that man was Voldemort. He failed spectacularly and never tried again. Jade was burning and his whole body was hurting. He didn't know the reason for this, however he knew that something was wrong as his body defenses were at war with something in his body. That something was the reason for his high fever as his cells fought with the invader. The presence of basilisk venom and phoenix tears in his bloodstream was welcomed, as the venom being the most powerful destructive substance that was known to the wizards turned ninja attacked the foreign blood and destroyed all but two of the snake venom has done its job. It was the turn of the phoenix tears. They healed Jade's body and gently integrated the new bloodlines in his body. Jade opened his eyes and found himself in his mindscape. He looked at himself and smiled. He had tough his body to always appear at his strongest here and disregard how hurt he was in reality. He rationalized that his mind needed to be in the best possible condition regardless how he was in reality in order to find a way to escape his captors. However, something wasn't right as he knew that his body was in Konoha and yet he was here, thus led him to believe that his mind was assaulted in some way. He looked around Hogwarts and didn't see anything, however he felt a vibration under his feet. He stood up and his legs brought him to one of the windows that overlooked the courtyard. What he saw horrified him. Something that vaguely resembled a snake was trying to break in. The creature was white, with long white scales that overlapped. The head was grotesque, like a bad mix between a human and a snake and with strands of long greasy hair. The creature tried once again to enter his mindscape and failed. Orochimaru had escaped Konoha, had found a well-guarded place and had decided to check on the seal he put on Jade. He closed his eyes and followed the echo of his control seal to the boy mind. To his immense surprise he was met with resistance that none of his other subjects didn't have. The mind of the boy was well guarded and the black tendrils of the cursed seal were unable to breach it. The snake Sannin looked at the imposing fortress that looked like some sort of castle, but one which he never have seen before. He looked for some time and decided that his seal needed help. Orochimaru abandoned his human shell and at its place stood his real form, a white snake. His numerous forbidden experiments and his relentless pursuit of immortality had changed him. Long gone was the student of the third Hokage, now in its place existed a creature that was more snake than man. Orochimaru prepared himself to attack once again the doors of the castle when suddenly his body was hit by snake. Corrupted body felt an immense pain and turned its gaze to the one that has hit him and stopped, not understanding of what he was seeing. A group of 4 ethereal animals have appeared and their combined light was destroying his seal tendrils. Then the 4 creatures surrounded him. In front of him stood a majestic white stag, with the biggest crown he had ever seen. On his right stood the biggest white tiger he had ever seen, its size dwarfed the biggest tigers in the Forest of Death. On his left was a white size made the Inuzuka biggest dogs look like puppies and on its back stood another ethereal creature, a wolf. The 4 creatures looked to wait for something and Orochimaru was asking himself what was that. Then to his immense surprise in a burst of light the boy who he was after and the strangest creature the Sannin has ever seen appeared next to the stag. The creature was immense, its head and body were resembling a leopard, its tail ended in a snake head and on its back were two immense fiery wings. Then and there, the snake Sanin knew that he had made a huge mistake to try and attack the boy. He tried to escape the boy mind but to his horror he was unable. For the first time in a long time he felt an emotion that he loved to see in each of his victims, fear. He was one of the Sanin he wasn't supposed to feel fear ever, but now he was. He saw the boy lifting his arm and looked at the creatures. The stag lowered his head and the deadly crown faced him. He heard more than he felt, the tiger crouching and its claws reshaping the earth under him. The dog and the wolf had their teeth showing and were preparing to jump at a moment's notice, but what scared him more was the unknown creature. He could have swore that this animal was some kind of descendant of the two tails itself. He saw how the animal set itself in fire, poison glistening from its claws and its two mouths. Furthermore, the snake head eyes had an ethereal gleam in them. He once again tried to escape the boy mind but found it impossible. Then and there he knew that he was looking at his end. He had made the biggest mistake he could make. He had traveled to the boy with his mind and chakra. If he had used only his chakra and a part of his mind he possibly could have returned to his body, however he underestimated his opponent. He believed that the boy was like any other ninjas, powerful yes but easily controlled. To his horror that wasn't the case. He watched in dread how the boy snapped his fingers and the animals attacked. His sight met the snake and he found himself fading away while being burned alive. Far away from Konoha in the ruin of a temple a body stood. The body was that of what was once Orochimaru, but now it was decaying at an unimaginable speed. Due to the many experiments that the snake Sanin has done to himself, the molecular composition of his body was unstable, thus accelerating the rate of decomposition. Pretty soon, where once was a body there could only be found ash and some clothes. Kushina looked up as she noticed a change into her son breathing. She exited the chair that she was sitting on and gently took his hand and exhaled. Jade still had some fever, however it wasn't as high as before. Her gaze turned toward the seal and saw that it was getting fainter and fainter with each passing second until it disappeared. She breathed a sign of relief and smiled. Rui was right, Orochimaru had failed in possessing her son. She approached the window to his room and made a sign while writing a message. An Anbu appeared and she gave it to her while asking that the message was brought to Minato. Minato was worried. Fortunately he could control himself because for the untrained eye it appeared that everything was fine. Only his family and the people who knew him the most could tell that his mind wasn't on the elimination round of the Chunin exam. He was thinking of Jade and how was his son. When Team 7 has been told, the genin wanted right away to go and see him, but the only thing that stopped them was that for them to be able to leave the tower, they needed to forfeit the eliminations. They knew that Jade would not want that and had stayed to compete. Naruto could also tell that Team Jade wanted to be with their leader, however they also were staying to watch over the eliminations. The other reason they didn't forfeit or left the exams was that Kushina was going to stay with the sick teenager and update Minato and them if there was a change. The genin noticed the Anbu kneeling in front of Minato and the Hokage reading a message then nodding before the Anbu disappearing. Minato then looked at Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata and messages them. The genin smiled and as one decided not to prolong their matches as they wanted to go and see Jade as soon as possible. The monitor started to go through the names of the genin and the first two to fight were Hinata and Sakura. Hinata jumped in the fight ring and waited for Sakura to go down. The Pinkett still held a grudge that this girl had taken her place in the team of her Sasuke Khu. Still she gulped when she saw how serious the girl was. You took my place, Sakura started. Oh grow up, I don't have time, Hinata said and attacked. Everyone was speechless. Where was the shy Hyuga girl that went to the academy? This girl was a lioness and she was on the hunt and Sakura was her prey. The match barely lasted 30 seconds. Sakura was then carted to the med bay and Hinata slowly went to her team. Hinata, go, Sasuke said. You are sure? Hinata asked. Yes, go to Jade, we are going to follow after our own matches, Naruto said. Okay, see you then, Hinata said and departed for the hospital. Not long after that Naruto name was called and soon everybody was treated to the repeat of Hinata match. The following march was Sasuke and also it didn't last long. Everyone looked at Kakashi and the Jonin said. They have an incentive, the Jonin said. What, less missions? Asuma asked. No, Jade. Ah, understood, Asuma said. Kakashi-sensei, the boys said. Understood boys, soon I'll join you, but first, I'll need to stay until everyone passes. Why? To pick who you'll be fighting against, Kakashi said. Understood, sensei, see you later, the boys said and departed the arena. The first thing that Jade heard as he became semi-conscious were the voices around him. These voices were faint but steady. He felt a hand in his own and using a lot more force than usual managed to squeeze it. The voice closest to him changed his pitch and became more insisting in his plea to wake up. Jade wanted to comply, but even this small movement took all his forces and he succumbed back to sleep. The genin and Kushina watched over Jade and to pass the time they were talking very low. Naruto had exchanged places with Kushina and was holding his big brother hand when suddenly he felt a small squeeze. His attention zeroed on the ninja in the bed and he started to ask him to wake up. Naruto. Jade squeezed my hand, the blonde genin said excitedly, however I think that he went back to sleep. This is good, Kushina said. Why? Because, Sasuke, it means that the fever has broken and now he is in a healing sleep. Do you know when he will wake up? Hinata asked. No, however, it should not be long, Naruto mother said. Jade fully opened his eyes and looked around the sunny room. His sight fell on the sleeping Minato. The Hokage had fallen asleep in the most uncomfortable-looking chair. He could have chuckled at the sight and gently touched the hand of his father. This wasn't a good idea, as the sleep-deprived Kage woke up and Jade found himself at the mercy of one of his kunai. I surrender. Jade, you are awake, Minato said. Yes, and if possible can you put away the kunai please, his son asked. Minato's sleep-deprived mind still didn't understand. The kunai that is on my neck, can you put it away? Jade asked. Oh yeah, sorry, the kunai was returned to his place. Let's not tell your mother. How long I was asleep? A couple of days. Good. Let's go, the boy said. Jade, what are you doing? Minato asked. Getting out of bed, isn't it obvious? Jade looked at him. Now are you coming? I don't want to be caught by Tsunade. I presume that the genin passed. Yes, Minato nodded. That is good, I am happy to hear that. Now let's go. With that, Jade was gone, leaving Minato alone in the room. Not wanting to suffer Tsunade ire, he followed his son. The next day Jade sat in front of Minato and started to explain what had happened while he was unconscious. Orochimaru tried to take control of me with his chakra. When this didn't succeed, he made the mistake and used his mind to try to breach my mental defenses. Why do you say that he made a mistake? Tsunade asked. Because me, Rui, Itachi and Mia can control our mind and we have various defenses, Jade said. Orochimaru triggered my most lethal defenses and his mind was destroyed. What are these mental defenses? Jiraiya asked. Sorry, but this is personal, Jade said. Jade, Minato said and looked at his son. I understand. Minato. Tsunade said. We must know. No, you have your own techniques, I have mine, Jade said. I am not asking you to reveal your techniques. Why I should mine? Minato, you as Hokage, can order him, Jiraiya said smugly. True, but I won't do it, Minato said. Thank you, father. With that, Jade left the Hokage tower. 2 days later, Naruto was ready to depart Konoha to train with Jade. He had known that Jiraiya wanted to teach him some techniques, however he knew the perverted ways of the Sannin and he didn't want to spend a month with him trying to train while his sensei was peeping on women. Fortunately, Jade was there and had offered to train him. Now both brothers were outside Konoha. So what are we going to do? The blonde asked. Well, first we are going to see what is your summon. I know that the pervert wanted you to sign the Toad contract, however while they are good, I don't think that they are the summon for you. Why? Well, because they are too serious and you are fun-loving. Huh? Naruto looked at him. Let me explain with us. Rui, for example, is cunning, prideful and ambitious. The snakes are exactly that, so they are perfect for Rui. The crows are mysterious as it's Itachi. Mia is intelligent and loves knowledge and the owls are perfect for her. And you, me, I am cunning and the snakes are perfect for me, however I have another contract that complements it. You see, snakes are perfect for espionage and infiltration, however the bigger ones are difficult to miss. So what is your second contract? Leopards. They are fast, agile, stealthy and dangerous. Then he became serious. Another thing, we are going to work on your mindscape and especially your interaction with the fox. Do you think that it will be easy? No, it will be very difficult, and I don't expect an immense progress. Why? Don't forget he is a caged animal. You will need to make compromises with him. For example, start talking to him each day and little by little he'll get used to it. Then propose to him that from time to time he will be able to use your senses to experience the outside world. Finally, ask him if there is a fox contract. Fox contract. Why? Because, if there is and the foxes have multiple tails, the Kyuubi in theory can be seen as a boss summon. If his is the case, in theory, he would be able to escape the seal for some time if he is needed. Respect him as an equal and I am sure that you two could work together. Maybe in time, and if he is agreeable, he can become your familiar and be outside full time. Do you think that it is possible? I don't know, Naruto, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, however you won't know if you don't try it. Still, this idea is only between us. I don't want to imagine the reaction of our father if he learn about this. Understood. Understood. Naruto and Jade arrived at the spot that the black-haired boy had chosen. The meadow was amazing. It was far from Konoha, so if used Kyuubi chakra wasn't going to be felt by the village. There was a river flowing through it and many trees surrounded it. Now, Naruto, I want you to make 2 groups of 5 clones each. One of the groups will use chakra to scale the trees and the other will use chakra to try and walk on river. The water walking is more difficult than tree climbing, but it is necessary to learn chakra control. Understood, Jade, Naruto said, and made 12 clones. Why 12? Because the last 2 will help us in setting the camp. Good idea. With the help of the clones, the camp was erected in an hour and few fish were roasting over the fire. Jade smiled and looked at Naruto before showing him chakra papers and explained that it was used to find the nature of the chakra of the user. So this will help me with jutsu. Yes, now you push your chakra in it, and if the paper becomes soggy, your element is water. If it burns, it's fire. If it crumbles, it is earth. If it is cut in two, it is wing, and if it wrinkles, it's lightning. Now some families have elemental chakra that is hereditary. Truly, yes, look at the Uchiha, a good portion of them have fire as their element. The great fireball is important to them and it is a rite of passage for them. Now push some chakra in the paper. Naruto did that and the paper split in 2 and the corners became damp. Impressive, you have 2 chakra affinities, wind and water. Furthermore, when you have practice enough with them you will be able to use ice release, Jade said. I presume this is good. Yes, now wind is weak against fire but strong against lightning. Now I don't know what Sasuke affinities are, however I am sure that at least one is fire. This means that you two can do a combination jutsu. You can reinforce his fire with your wind and with practice you will be able to unlock scorch release. This is a combination of fire and air, but you must trust each other very much as scorch release is very destructive as well as storm release. Storm release. Yes, the combination of water and lightning. Now I want you to dismiss the first group of clones and in 10 to 15 minutes the second group. That was another question. Why did I need to make these clones? I thought that will be training but that hadn't happened. You seriously don't know the benefit of shadow clones? Jade asked. Benefits. Oh, boy, now shadow clones are perfect foe training as they are physical clones of you. This makes training easier as they can use chakra. I know that, yes, but apparently what you don't know is that they can transfer knowledge. Now during our camp preparations these 2 groups have been doing chakra control exercises. Now as they dispel you'll obtain their knowledge. So in essence, shadow clones will speed my training. Yes, however there are few rules. Now they can transfer mental effort but no physical one, which means that while you clones are doing chakra exercises you must do any physical ones. With me so far. Yes, now the second and most important things. You will dispel your clones in small groups, otherwise you'll get at best a headache and at worst you'll be out of it for a long time. Now usually this is no problem for an average ninja can do around 3 as their max. The ninjas on Kakashi level can do 5 at max. Now Itachi can do at max 7 clones, Rui 8, Mia 9 and I can do at most 10 clones. You because of the Kyuubi you can produce in the hundreds. Understood, however how you 3 can produce so many clones? Our magic, Jade said. Now dispel them in groups of 5 and after that try the tree and water walking. Okay, Naruto dispelled his clones at groups while waiting few minutes between the 2 groups, and then he went for the trees and ascended one very quickly. After he had finished with the tree climbing he turned toward the river and cautiously stepped on it and managed to do few steps before sinking in it. He looked at Jade and saw his brother looking at him with pride and smiled back. The blonde-haired boy concentrated and using chakra he managed to return to the surface of the river and slowly while regulating his chakra output returned to the shore. Good job, Jade said. Now let me show you something, and for today the training is over. The only thing that is needed for you is to watch me in the eyes. Naruto nodded and looked at his brother and soon he found himself in front of what he believed to be a castle, like he never have seen. This castle was made only from stone, there wasn't anything familiar to him. He noticed movement to his right and saw Jade next to him. Where are we, Aniki? This is my mindscape, and this castle is Hogwarts. You mean your school? Yes, this is what it used to look before its destruction. Now let's go, I want to show you something. Jade then started to walk and Naruto followed him. Soon the boy noticed movement in front of him and noticed few animals. The creatures were like anything he ever have seen. All of them were shining and were made of white mist. The boy stopped as he noticed the animals turning toward him. Scared he started to go for his weapons, but was stopped by Jade's hand. Don't be scared, as you are with me. They won't attack you. What are they? The creatures are representation of my original family. You see, my father, my godfather and my mother could turn into animals to help one of their friends. That's so cool. Who is who? The stag is the representation of my biological father, the black dog is my godfather, the tiger was my mother animagus form and the wolf is for their last loyal friend who was a werewolf. What about the last animal? Naruto pointed at the strange creature. The creature had the body of a leopard, with red wings, and the tail was a serpent body. This is my last guardian. Your animal form. No, it is a type of chimera, which is a magical creature composed of different creatures. For example, this chimera has the head and body of a leopard, the tail is a snake, and the wings are that of a phoenix. This is a combination of your familiars. Naruto understood. Yes. Now the castle is where I store my secrets and these 5 are its guardians. Why did you show me this? Basically, I showed you this, because this is the end goal that you must strive for in your interaction with the Kyuubi. It will be difficult, however with work is doable. Now, I don't expect you to do all this in 1 month, however, if we manage to starting putting up the base will be a huge victory. I understand, Naruto said. Now, it is time to rest. Meanwhile in Konoha, Jiraiya was getting irritated with Naruto. He wanted to teach the Gaki how to summon toads and other stuff, however neither him nor Minato knew where his son and Jade were. He heard a door opening and turned toward his student. So where is the Gaki, Minato? Not at home, however I found this. The Hokage showed his teacher a letter, and Jiraiya took it to see what was written on it. Hey Dad, I have elected to go and train with Jade during this month break. I overheard you and the pervy sage talking about my training, and to tell you the truth I am not keen of having Jiraiya teaching me. The reason? His womanizing ways. I hate how he uses his time to spy on women in the hot springs. I am sure that he'll give me some jutsu to give me something to do and go look for material for his next book. I consider the exams important, so what is why I have asked Jade to train me. He had accepted and we are leaving the village for few weeks to train, as I know that Jade will proceed seriously about my training and not leave me on my own, as I am sure Jiraiya will be doing. See you soon, Naruto. The Hokage and Jiraiya looked at the letter a long time, then Minato turned toward his teacher and just said. He got you there. Jiraiya could only helplessly watch as Minato left him and headed for his office while his laugh echoed after him.